Welcome back, everybody. This is NECC Esports. My name is Infernosis, and I'm joined here by Treasury. How you doing today, man?
Howdy. Doing good. Happy to finally get a chance here. Extraneous circumstances have kept me from getting on the cast the last 2 weeks, so I'm really pumped to get in here with this first match for me on this third week against Marymount University and University of Buffalo's secondary team.
I mean, obviously a great matchup. Unfortunately, both these teams coming off of 2 losses, so both have an 0-2 scoreline so far. But I've casted for the University of Buffalo too already, so I know their play styles a little bit. I know they've got a couple of fraggers on their team, and I know that those losses, while it may show as a 0-2, and at least one of those, it wasn't actually that big of a loss. They did have some substantial rounds under their belt, and I definitely think they're going to be able to show us, a lot going for it. Now, Marymount, on the other hand, I have not had the opportunity or the pleasure, I should say, to cast for any of them. So I'm looking forward to what they're going to bring out under the table. I'm definitely looking forward to the opportunity to cast once again here in week 3 of R6. I think we're about ready to just jump straight into this one. Pretty straight standard stuff for both these sides, Nothing really too fancy. Both coming in 0-2. This is like a decider match. One of them will get their first win no matter what here. And so we're going to see somebody come out with a 1-2 stat line and somebody come out with the 0-3.
Yeah, this will be an important part of this bracket, determining who ends up on that fully defeated and who starts their up and up trend, hopefully getting themselves some more victories going through the rest of the season. We're going to be starting off here on Theme Park as our first map, which I think is going to be pretty interesting to see between these two teams. Obviously, it's a pretty defense side of map. There's several important breaches to focus on, and the roam clear is going to be another big focus just because of the large amount of real estate both on first and second floors of this map.
Yeah, it's definitely something to keep an eye out for. And then, pushing in if you're going in for the throne room objective, which is, your main go-to objective usually on this side. Pretty heavy focus for the maintenance side. Getting rid of the Thatcher, which we do see coming through, is definitely going to help out in terms of defending it. However, there are some cheeky changes that could be switched up. Nades can be thrown over the top. The reinforced wall does not go all the way up within maintenance, so that's a pretty good sideline. So in terms of throne room defense, more than likely, maintenance will be the hole you open up. You completely ignore armor in most situations. Maybe a little bit of pressure over there, but not really an engaging push. Second man to come through will be the Maverick. That's another way to deny and force you to have to play that Thermite on maintenance to be able to actually bandit trick that out, to play that little mind game kind of situation, those one-on-ones. But I definitely think the right combination of a Thermite and a Sledge with those nades in pocket will definitely add some, attacking, struggling for the defense.
Yeah, I'm really curious to see what Marymount does with this, since they'll be starting on attack, and they actually made the choice to ban that Maverick after seeing Buffalo take out that Thatcher. So really limiting those options. I'd assume that they have a plan already in mind, doing such a bold ban that way.
Yeah, I mean, Kaid, obviously, when you're not allowing him, there's actually one position where I talk about the wall between Cash and the actual office objective next to Vault on the second floor. That wall is, fairly easy to kind of remove that situation from. It's hard to get around. You have to push through the bathroom. Electro Claw and Kaid, you can actually throw that on the floor below, within the floor itself, and actually get the 2 walls Electro Clawed, and it makes it nearly impossible for you to find it. If you are Maverick or anything of the sort, you have to go actually down below. And that's where roamers will live. They're going to live inside a throne room, no matter what the objective is. Roamers are going to sit in the throne room and be that roaming threat that we all know that they're capable of. And, removing Kaid from play is definitely going to be a smart decision in, getting rid of the availability of that. But the mirror ban is, just a go-to ban. Until they finish off the rework on her, where you can melee it out and damage it, she's going to continue to be a very easy ban.
Definitely. As you were saying about throne room being really important, we are going to that objective first. So beyond just the roamers live in there, we're going to see all the anchors in there, and obviously some strong anchoring choices with that Mute and the Maestro. Backed up by the Jaeger. They're going to have a pretty solid defense there in the armory. It's going to be hard to open up for Tripped.
I definitely think there's some worry you have to have in terms of defending. I mean, the mind game that's going to go down on that maintenance wall, do you give it up early or do you try to fight it off the whole time? They have brought the bandit out, which means that bandit trick is more than likely going to be the main attempt. Like I spoke about previously, you aren't going to see the sledge with a nade. They're not bringing a thermite out. Instead, they are going to bring out and rely on the Selma charges of Ace to try and be your sole hard breach in that situation. I don't necessarily know if I like this that much, because in this situation, maintenance is hard to fight against the bandit trick. You can kind of guarantee a little bit with the nade, but Jace, if he gets a little bit too far in there and really holds that position and gets, how do I say this? Has a lot of confidence in being able to hold out against that nade, then it will definitely be a problem, especially with the fact that you do have an ADS on your side. Locky with that is going to make it difficult for those nades to actually be flown over the top. How many are you going to place there? And if you look at the attacking utility, it's just a bunch of smokes. You don't really have that much to bait out those ADSs in terms of wasteful utility that you're willingly going to give up.
Yeah, like you were saying, the choice of only having one hard breacher and only the 2 nades for dealing with this wall might be a little bit of a concern. These first picks are really going to decide a lot for Marymount's attack.
It's definitely something you have to think about. I mean, take a look. You see the main entry is going to come from that west side veranda. Work your way from west, kind of clear out cash room. Say, playing this floor, you're going to see this basically in every single round. Play from from east to west and kind of work your way in that direction. Nothing too shocking coming from the attacking side. And I think UB Bravo is going to be, they're going to be aware of that. They know that strategy. They're going to do the exact same thing. Every team they've ever faced is going to do the exact same thing. But Locky is going to do something different to switch it up. That's Ape. He's going to go down. And it's going to be a nice kill. But if you take a look at the situation, Locky's trapped and he's going to get caught out. And that's going to be another kill traded out. And it's going to be a 4-4 with only 2 minutes left.
That was some really aggressive plays from Locky, getting double droned and still holding that position and trying to take a gunfight against the entire other team. Sakura picks up another great roaming kill up here on the second floor, really doing a lot to stop this second floor push. He's gotten what he wants and he's going to head out. Nice conservative play from the roamers, wasting a lot of time and taking those 2 early picks.
2 picks is definitely what you want in this situation. I do worry, however, the fact that you already have a minute and a half taken. You've like you said, you've delayed them as much as you need to. And if I'm a defensive situation, you want to delay for about a minute left on the clock. You want to be able to, have a minute left to situate yourselves back to the objective, keep all your players alive, which we do successfully. They did, except for Locky. One minor mistake is going to be on that record, but nonetheless, while you do have to worry about the upstairs office kind of hold, and you're not really worried about that armory wall. That's not typically where most teams will push into. So if we do see that come out from Marymount, I would be pleasantly surprised to see a variation in strategy come from that push.
Like we talked about earlier about relying on not so much utility on the attacker's side for dealing with the wall, we still have the ace up, but no frag grenades left. So it's going to be very reliant on Smasher to open up to really smash up the floor up top and give them some lines of sight on the utility on the wall. I think we are hearing some ace charges go live here, so they must have found an opportunity for those on yellow wall.
Oh no, fight goes off, and it looked like Sakura was going to have the chance to win that engagement, but Hope is going to get that one off. He's sitting very low now at about 3 HP, and the shots just not hitting. I mean, he's down. There's nothing he can do about it, but he doesn't actually know he's down. So that's even more time that you've bought in that situation. Hope is sitting over there way far off away from the actual objective. They need to get the diffuser down and planted. It's Smash who has it, and Smash's HP is just as Smash as the name seems to be. So it's going to be even harder with Jace, especially with the MP7. Able to spray and pray down that corridor is going to be a good denier, but the side shot from Jason Duck, the MP7 and SMG-11 will be the 2 deciding factors, the SMG squad, to clean up that round and shut down the Marymount attack.
I really appreciated that very conservative hold from Buffalo. They didn't do anything, didn't show their cards too early at all. Their roamers did their job, not pushing or extending, taking their 2 kills, and just waiting for the attackers to come to them. Hope really had to spend a lot of time tracking down Vigil, and they just got hurt by the timer there. 15 seconds left with one wall open. There's just nothing to do except get fragged out coming in through that breach.
Yeah, you kind of funnel yourself out. Now, let's take a moment, because we can digest that last round, but it really just comes down to 30-second meta. Really and truly, it just comes down to the 30-second meta. Quite frankly, everything comes down. The whole reason we have this huge patch note for the next season that's coming out is to remove reliance on that 30-second meta. Everything that's going through is to remove that viability. That's why Goyo is going to get his Vulcan shields removed. They're going to rework his so he doesn't have those shields on it. I mean, you're going to see that removal of that 30-second meta, the ability to remove those evil eye cameras from Maestro by meleeing them out and clearing that utility. There's a lot of variability that's going to come through and allow for teams to push more aggressively, like the droning. Like, what's your take on that as well? Like, when you actually die, you can still use your drones in the afterlife.
I'm so excited for that, and I think it's actually one of those things more geared towards casual play than it is competitive play, because one of those things getting players to have active time in the game even after they've died in a game where you only have that one life. So I think it'll be great for the community as a whole, getting more new players in here, a little less frustrating for people who just aren't used to it. And then on the competitive side, it's going to be game changing. There's going to be so much more focus on that drone denial. I think we'll be seeing resurgence of Mutant Mozzie like we saw just about a year ago. I'm hyped for that. It was a really fascinating meta during that time.
Yeah, the M&M combos. It'll show and rear its ugly head once again. But I think there's like you said, it's kind of geared towards casual. You can kind of do your own thing during that phase, but it'll also promote extremely high level play in terms of competitive teams. It rewards you to keep your drone economy positive. It also rewards you to have your drones thrown and already out there in safe positions because you can only control your own drones. You can't take your teammates. You can't, pull out. They can't throw their drone who's still alive and then have his teammate take over it. They've already come out and stated that you can only take your own drones, and it's going to promote you to have those already out and available, and also to be moving them constantly and having them already out and about, so you can kind of take up on that position. I think that's going to be a high level, rewarding strat. But the one that's going to reward the attack, no longer having 6-pick phase. Instead, you can change your operator choice in the actual prep phase.
I think that'll be great for addressing that 30-second meta. Now you're going to be able to hone in on those utility destruction characters. You won't have to have all-rounder teams. You can have specialist teams. That's going to open up a lot new operators. Some more variety in competitive play, I'm sure. And I think that'll just be great for the competitive environment.
Yeah, what's your take on Flores for competitive?
Oh, he's fascinating. He's sort of a Twitch alternative, also giving you more access to that explosive utility destruction, which is going to be less of a focus, but still vitally important.
Yeah, it's definitely something to keep an eye on. But speaking of keeping an eye out, we're, a minute in already, and no deaths have really come through. This polar opposite of what we saw in the last round, where we saw 2 and a third one coming in the actual, second minute. But a lot of kills that had dropped fairly early on in round 1 are not happening here. The engagement, once again, starting mostly from the east side. We are seeing a little bit of variation in where they're actually going to push in from. They're going to head towards the outside veranda on the west side instead to push in through Arcade, which will give them more variety, and I definitely think that's what they need in this situation. Abe's going to try and find one in the spot. He is going up from the actual upper side of Arcade. He's going to try and cut to the other side. There's 2 players currently situated over there, so this could be a very early frag that we see getting dropped here.
He was pushing up pretty far here without, as far as I can tell, much support behind him. He's in deep and looks like he's made it all the way into nursery. Not much resistance. And I think what you were talking about earlier with that first minute of very quiet engagements, Marymount learned from that really aggressive roam. But here we are, we're starting to get those frags. And immediately Sakura refragging Abe after his very aggressive movement forwards on the second floor. And with a minute left, I think we're going to see a pretty crunchy actual take of the objective.
Yeah, they're definitely going to need to find a way to coordinate themselves. As you do see right now, Score, the Gridlock's going to play in control room. They're not bringing the, they have both the Nomad and the Gridlock, so they're trying to deny that roam. Like, super high here. Sakura's in an engagement, and it's not going to go in the way of the defense in this one. Duck's going to fall now. The castle's going to get taken out from the angle from the main hallway, not paying attention to his side, and instead only, tunnel visioning into that bathroom doorway. It's going to catch Duck off guard. The Maestro but not finished, and it's going to be Tripped who's going to start the actual diffuser placement. Evil Eye will get shot out. Civ is going to be the last one standing in that room, and he's going to have to rely on the flank here from Sakura. Civ going to connect with Score, and it's going to be a 3 versus 2. Sakura's going to have to use his last impact to bust out the castle barricade, but it won't matter as Smashers is not far behind. Sakura will fall, and it's up to Civ Kerman in a 1v3. He needs to get this clutch going for him. He needs to get 2 rounds under his belt. Given the attack a round here on Theme Park, which is so utterly defensive sided, is not what you want. Hope Banshee, however, will find it. That's the Nomad utility knocking back, and Hope Banshee being the hope for his side, cleaning up in the process of the C7E.
Civ made a valiant effort there with his Alda, taking a couple down with him, but alas, there was just too much pressure on the opposite site, and no way for him to get in with all those Gridlock track stingers deployed. I think Marymount really set the speed of that round, just as the last one. It was a little slow through the beginning, but when it came to crunch time, they made it happen. It was a really totally together push that really met no resistance.
Yeah, you saw at the beginning, Ape, who had gotten the frag onto your Jaeger, onto Locky in that situation, it immediately had to be turned around, and that, immediate refrag that came through. You had Sakura come and get that refrag potential. That was a good showing there. We saw potential there, and that was what you need in that situation from University of Buffalo. You need to play that refrag. If you're going to lose somebody off the bat, which you don't want to do anyways, but if you're going to, at least refrag them in the process. So that engagement was a neutral stance for both sides, both losing one. And honestly, I think Ape dying in that situation was more detrimental to the attacking side because she still had breaching charges up. The Ashe has breaching charges. So it's something you have to keep in mind. So I think it was a positive trade-off, but the issue was the rest of the engagements that came through were not positive. They were not what you wanted in that situation. You lost too many people without being able to get frags in return, and we saw two players that didn't watch their flanks. That was Sakura on the last one where you had to impact the castle. You saw Smashers come from the backside and really damage him out and remove him from that fight. And then Doug, who got taken out by the gridlock in the middle of that one, not paying attention to the actual hallway itself. And it's going to be, a problem if they don't start paying attention to more than one angle.
Yeah, for Bravo, it's going to be a concern about getting that early intel on where the attack is actually coming from. Everything was quiet, a little too quiet, and once Buffalo actually locked in on where the attack was coming from, it was too late. They're already getting shot from all sides. There's just so little to do against that execute at that point.
We're back on the second floor. Now, I'm of the opinion, I say this as many times as always, I basically say it every time I cast, you should never play the same objective twice. Right? Now, they did win their primary objective, right? So they won down in Throne Room and Armory. So you can't go back there. But pick up a tertiary objective. Head to one of the other ones. There's different ones. They may be not as fun or not as good. The lab one is very difficult to play in. But, switch it up. Don't get complacent in your hold. I think that might be something that bites them in the rear.
I don't know. I'd argue that it's a viable playstyle to really establish a playbook and stick by it, but I definitely wouldn't argue against the value of switching up your defense while mid-match. Because if it doesn't go your way one time, the enemies have a tempo that they've already gotten into, and they know what you're doing on that site.
Now, Sakura, who we saw in the Vigil before, is picking up the Goya, which is going to be replaced soon, right, with the shields that are going to get changed. But abuse them while they're here in this situation, but that'll cause a little bit of a slowdown from the Marymount assault, right? They came in swiftly on the last one, cleaned up when necessary, and really took advantage within that last 90-ish seconds. So obviously, they're going to have to play a little bit slower, and I think they have the operator lineup for that. Bringing both a Nomad and a Gridlock's the right decision to deny that roam potential, and I think that's another one of the reasons why Sakura's off that roam on the actual, the Asian man himself. He's switched off Vigil, and he's going to head over and pick up Goyo instead.
Here's that roam clear team, Smasher and Hope, clearing out from Cash's side. They're going to quickly meet against Jace in the bathroom. His gun is not nearly as tailored for this kind of mid-range encounter on the SMG-11, but I think he's well prepped to deal with this. He's got that information denial, and they've been doing a good job of keeping that drone economy on their side, not letting Marymount get too much intel at any one time.
Yeah, I mean, they've already lost, 5 drones for the Marymount attack. That's not very good, and that's definitely... You're not going to be successful as a team when the next, update comes out to use your drones at all times. You're not going to be as successful when you can't maintain that drone economy. It's going to promote a higher level of play. And people are going to have to change their entire mindsets. It's really going to change the pace of the match. But speaking of change of the pace, we had seen kills that had popped off 2 at the stage in which there was 2 minutes left, but now there's a minute left, and we're finally seeing the first frag. It's going to be Ape and Smashers running with Lucky and Sakura, cleaning them up from the opposition, giving themselves a good situation for the attack. It's going to be another kill. That's Civ Kerman falling to the score. And that's going to be a positive score on their side. It's going to be 2 players left. Duck and Jace. It's going to be the SMG-11 duo trying to hold down for as long as possible. The information will go, however, and it's going to be the Nomad utility to deny, but the SMG-11 will connect on one. Duck finds Ape, and the shotgun kill is not going to go. Hope Banshee will find him with a CCE, and it's going to be Jace with the SMG-11. This is going to be, mid-range engagements in this situation. You can't rely on the shotgun in close range. Even this flank, this rotation that Jace is trying to make right here is not going to be enough.
Jace is up against the odds here. Still 3 members left. A lot better than he was just a moment ago, losing his teammate for 2 opponents. But with SMG-11, you don't have a lot of bullets. There's a lot of heads to click. And he's making a valiant stand, taking yet another one. He's so low on health, though, tripping Fonzie. Only 17 seconds left on that diffuser. He's got to make quite a bit of ground. Now, he's going to have to take out his own team's utility to get into the objective room, and it's just not doable. Valiant attempt from Jace, though, and a lot of great SMG-11 kills.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, listen here. I used to stink at the SMG-11. All right, I was terrible at it. I couldn't use that gun to save my life. All right, that was the worst gun in my arsenal of weapons, and I have 1,000+ hours in Siege. After casting higher level play and in competitive play and starting to cast, I'm a monster on the SMG-11 now. I don't know what it is. Like
Just hold
seeing
on.
these players have success with it, I'm coming through and I'm like, oh man, this is coming through. And you love to see SMG-11 kills because anyone who's used the
Feels so good.
SMG-11 knows this gun is disgusting in more ways than one. It's a killing machine and it's also the highest recoil gun you can possibly imagine on the planet, right? Like so being able to get kills and hold a good recoil pattern and seeing successful high level play with that is just so much fun to see from either side.
I think the SMG-11 is sort of emblematic of what I at least love about Siege is that really high technical requirement and knowledge with such great payoff. It's got a really high floor. That's not something I love about Rainbow. It's a little rough for new people to get in, but it's got that crazy ceiling for potential. So it lets the best players do unthinkable things.
I mean, any game you look at, you want a game to be easy for new people to come into it, especially a game like Siege, right, where they have like what 30 million people that play the game, right? Like a very large like amount of people who own and play. Promoting new people in, especially with these free weekends there, is too. You don't want people to pull out a weapon and struggle with it and go, this is impossible. You want it to be a fun, enjoyable experience coming through, and that's why, in my opinion, it's smoking, mute, or great still. Because any low level player or new player is not going to bring the shotgun out. They're not going to bring that M80 Mossberg. They're not going to come through with that, right? They're going to come through the MP5s. They're gonna bring the SMGs out. So in all honesty, right? That's one of the main things I give props to about Ubisoft right there. Having variety with the actual guns you bring in and what you want to do. The only one I question variety on is Dokkaebi, where you just have 2 DMRs.
Yeah, I
the
know
boss
you're
two,
complaining
one point
earlier
two.
about the changes there since she's just getting neutered, losing her explosives, and she can't just take that gun 6 without the frag
Yeah.
grenades. That's a huge nerf to an already dicey operator.
Dicey is the nicest term you can do. And speaking of dicey, that engagement, Ape's going to connect through the wall onto Locky, a headshot kill, and that's going to give Marymount yet another lead at the very beginning of the round.
Sakura's been spotty. He's going to pop his ability here to get out of the situation. That's going to take quite a bit of time for Marymount to figure out that he's totally left the area after seeing him there. It's going to get some time without him having to actually be there. So that's a nice thing for him to get out of that engagement. But it looks like Buffalo is having to kind of turtle up in sight here. Not too much roam game left.
This is the one objective they have found success so far, and they also had lost Locky previously fairly earlier on. So seeing Sakura taking the right step and stepping away, knows that he's been caught out on the second floor. Play it safe, step away, turtle back on the objective. Smart decision. Very smart decision to look at that and know, hey, I can fight this. I'll fight the battles I know I can win. And we'll do that on the objective that we know we can win and have done before. So a very smart decision there by Buffalo. And I think looking at how they're defending it right now, it's going to be very hard to hold that armory side because usually you have to defend maintenance. Most teams don't really prepare and defend for this armory push. And Score, he's not going to allow them to defend. That's Jace. The MP7 is going to be removed from the opposition. It's going to be that much more difficult for them to get this objective held.
3 men left on defense. It's looking a little rough with a full minute left on the clock. Duck down and out. It's down to Civ and Sakura to do it all. Sakura's a low health, though. He's been doing a great job, and he gets smashers. So setting his team up for a little more success. And that barbed wire is going to totally give away hope. This is the beginning of a comeback on this round for University of Buffalo.
You think about the last one as well? It was a 2v3 in the last matchup. So, I mean, they definitely have that comeback potential, the comeback squad. But 2 different people doing the actual comeback. And I want to point out they actually did bring a Thermite this time around, and it actually have brought him over towards the maintenance side, and it's going to be a bust through in that direction. Score taking damage in the process. That's a long fire shot from Civ Kerman. And it's going to be trying to plant down to the actual armory side. Civ's going to continue to spray, but can't really connect to the thing. Secures in a bad spot. He can't step through, but it's not going to matter. Zape makes the rotation around and finishes him off. It's going to be Civ. He's going to rotate around towards the actual hallway spot. The drone bait. That was a phenomenal bit of a cheeky play right there.
What a
oh
deadly
my
drone.
goodness, you did not just do that. Oh my goodness.
They've had that in the bag until that drone came out. That barbed wire on that door was doing some serious work, though.
Yeah.
Having 2 operators have to deal with it, almost leading to a second kill off of a single barbed wire.
Phenomenal. I mean, take like I would that play was that entire situation was so reminiscent of like old CS:GO. You would throw your pistol out as a fake flash, right? That's what that was, except it's a drone. I don't see enough people do that. I've casted T3 teams, like high level teams. Not a single one has ever. I've never seen it in game. That I love to see it. That is the way to do it. That's the way to go through and take a 3-1 victory on attack on theme park. Like that's the way to do it right there. Some pizzazz, some spice into the situation.
Yeah, really nice to see. Very impressive work. It's nice to see that Ape really trusts his teammates to pick up on that. Obviously, pulling his own gun down, even with such a good weapon as Ash's rifle, and having to put that away and hope that your teammate will pick it up. And the score absolutely did. And talking about the score, I really like to see this use of gridlock, not just of an off-meta pick, but really one that's done so much for their attack. It's really locked down these post-plant scenarios. Sakura, we've seen already at least 2 to 3 times, has just been stuck on track stingers, nothing to do except get shot in the back.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, I think we've only seen one round where the gridlock actually hasn't shown presence, and every single time it's Sakura who's having to face off against those stairs, and that's not what you want to see. Now, obviously, in one of those, you did see, I believe it was Jace who was making the rotation around with the SMG-11 on the second floor, rotating back through, trying to find the opposition, had to step through him. Sakura right there, he couldn't. Not at all. 100%. He's sitting at a 15 HP. He's dead if he takes that step forward. He can't shoot those out. No suppressor in hand, right? There's just no chance for him in that situation to make that rotate around. And I definitely think if I am, University of Buffalo, if I am their Liberty squad right now, changes have to be made. You can't go on defense and go down 3 rounds back to back. You can't get complacent. Like I said, you win your first, you fail, you go back, say, hey, we got this. You didn't get it. You gotta rework that strategy a little bit and definitely, rework things from the ground up. And they're gonna head back down stairs and try to play this one again. And I definitely think they're going to need to change it up. Only 2 nitro cells on their side. They brought Lockie in with the pulse. This is gonna be like that sightline, that wall hack ability to try and gain it, but they only have 2 nitro cells to try and act on it.
I do like to see that switch up, and I think a more aggressive roam getting this intel from Lockie's pulse will allow them to get some early picks. Jace picking up Hope just in that vein and putting some damage on Trip. So that's going to be a good start setting the pace themselves instead of letting Marymount take it away during the early half of the round.
Yeah, I mean, if you have a takeaway in this situation, is that Marymount is disgusting on their assault right now. There's just nothing that the University of Buffalo is really trying to interact with or do has worked, and that's because Marymount has changed it up. They've swung every angle. They've taken fights that you don't think they would have a right to fight. And look at the information that's gathered from Marymount. Their drone economy hasn't been great so far, but this pincer you see from Tripped and the pincer you see from Abe is going to shut down. No, actually. Does come through, but Jace will find the kill in return, but he is down to that situation. Ape doesn't really know that now, right? I mean, you don't have that information. No, maybe actually you do have that information.
Spend the breaching charge to make sure he's gone.
What? This is a breaching charge.
I love it. I love it, absolutely. It was really nice to see Jace on that roam. He's playing to die, but he's taking quite a bit of time. We're left with a minute and not much presence by the actual site from Marymount. So he's really doing his job and getting off the SMG-11 for a more powerful fragging rifle. There's another one for Sakura, taking down Abe, which is important, taking out that entry fragger. The Scorn Smashers left on the attack. 30 seconds left. They're going to have to do a lot of work, and Sakura is still on the roam, ready to mess with them from behind.
Yeah, fight will definitely have to be engaged, and it's definitely going to be difficult. Score will find one of the opposition, but he'll get traded out in return by Lockie, and it's going to be up to Smashers. This looks like UB Bravo's going to have the chance, and Lockie has the information. The wall hack will come through, and he'll jump off, and with the support of his teammate, he'll pull out the UMP and find the kill in return. So, finally, we see another round go in favor of University of Buffalo's 2 squad. We finally see them get another successful round under their belt, and it's back on that throne room objective. Now, the question is, this is your last round you have. The last defensive side. You need to bring this to a 3-3 if you want to stand a chance on your attack. You can't rely on your attacking squad to drop full straight rounds, 4 back-to-back to kind of give yourself the situation to be able to play this one out. You need to win this one, and they're going to try it up again in Initiation in Office.
I was hoping to see Jace on that roam again. Obviously really effective in that position. Probably so far the best showing on gunners for Buffalo. Going back to the SMG-11, which he's tried and true on. But with the real rifle, I think that'll really give a lot of benefits to Buffalo on their defense, getting those early picks like before.
No, I had spoken about complacency before. And we definitely have seen variety in the operator choices coming from the University of Buffalo. I think that, it's nice to see that. You've seen the Goyo come out, you've seen the Nilo Vigil come out, but in terms of everybody else, it's been mostly the same. I think we had seen Duck on Castle earlier. We had seen the Pulse come out earlier, but really and truly, it's not that much variety. You're still sticking to the tried and true sim, playing with the all-in hand on Maestro. You're still rocking in and basically auto-locking the ADS in the hands of Jaeger. Only time we've seen it up was the Pulse. I mean, you're tried and true sticking with it, and in this situation, it might not be exactly the play. What's your go-to operator lineup for holding initiation in office?
Oh, uh,
It's a tough question. I'm laying it on you.
Oh man, actually, I think it would be pretty similar to this. I think information denial is really important on throne rooms, so the mute is phenomenal, and there's a lot of tight angles on initiation to hold. Same with smoke. But we did see a similar hold to this one. Obviously, the only real difference being that Castle. And even with all of that denial for the push, we got the Maestro, the smoke, and quite a few roamers to flank that. They still weren't able to stop just a really concerted and sudden push onto site. So if they can do that this time, I think initiation might be for Buffalo. Otherwise, playing the same tune might be playing the Song of Disaster for them. And
yeah, definitely.
We know they don't want to see Marymount getting 4 wins going into their own defense half.
Yeah, I mean, I can't agree more with that. And I want to point out again, we're seeing Marymount come through. Information is exactly what they're gathering and what they're getting. I think a Mozzie would probably be the one thing I would bring different from this lineup. Just you need to bring that in there. Bute's going to do a job well, but it's not going to be enough. You need to have that Mozzie deny that information that Marymount is gathering. And woof indeed, Sakura will fall. That's your roam. That's Vigil. Why? You stepped away. You managed to get away for the first bet, but the fight doesn't go in your direction. Don't peek again. You've got 5 full people, all full HP, holding out on that east side of the building. I'm sorry, on the west side of the building. It's not going to go in your favor in that direction. Smashers, however, he's going to go out for the count. He's left the game. Not taken out, but, maybe his internet's been taken out for dinner. So,
That's gonna really hurt Marymount actually to see that utility taken off the board. I know they've already got all 3 of those gridlock stingers down on the board, but playing such a heavy push for those flank denials, you're gonna really be missing that. His score is actually landing that kill in that really close range encounter, outshooting the SMG-11. Duck and Locky are left alone. Left against Tripped, who is all alone. Got that hard breach opened up and line into sight. He doesn't know that sight is empty, though, and he's got to take this long-range encounter against Locky. Duck knows his location now, though, so it's going to quickly spice up this initiation fight.
Definitely the fight does happen, and defenders are going to win that one. Duck with the shotgun in hand. The Mossberg will find success onto Trip. Now, let's talk about that. You had one player leave, right? Not sure what happened. They didn't call for a rehost. I mean, the round's already underway, and there's already been a kill, so not really available anyways for the rehost. You just kind of have to take that one on the chin, but I think that could have gone entirely different in that situation. We definitely do need a pause to come through for this situation because they do need to get that player back. But I don't know. I mean, things are going to switch up.
I think that looked like sort of a moment of panic, actually, from Marymount. Gunfights were just about to start breaking out. They lost one of their players, and they just didn't hold it together against the defense. That was 3 players dropped all at the same time due to extraneous circumstances, and they just were not ready to hold up their attack the same way that they were just moments before.
Do you think that was because of adaptability from the defensive side? Do you think that there was... I mean, obviously, their operator choices, we had stated they changed a little bit, but it wasn't like substantial changes. It wasn't game-changing changes. The person you see that was switching a lot, which was Sakura, died immediately in that round, right? But that comeback from them that came through in winning rounds where they'd won the first and then they lost 3 back-to-back, the comeback from them is impressive. To come back from that much of a deficit, a 3-round back-to-back loss, you've got to change something, and I'm curious what you think that something was.
If anything, I think it was that moment when a player was lost on Marymount. There we go. Ooh. But when the play was lost on Marymount, and they all just collapsed on all the edges, everyone took those gunfights, and in that little moments of chaos, getting more aggressive than they had up until that round. As I said, it's been a very conservative hold, and at some points they suffered for that. But
Yeah,
this
we
time,
definitely. Are you good? Continue.
oh, okay. But this time, getting really aggressive in that moment really paid off. I think that's one of the main things that was missing.
I mean, think about Marymount's. Think about their aggression we saw, and like you want to say, they're the attacking side. No, they're the assaulters. They came through in those first 4 rounds. We saw it in round one, a little less. I think it just came down to tunneling at the last second, kind of relying too much on that 30-second meta. But I mean, you can't call it just a basic attack. They came in swinging every engagement. They had information. They fire those fights, and even like in those situations, you're not guaranteed to win even when you're doing that. Even when you're monkey swinging around and Georgia the jungling in every single direction, right? You're not guaranteed to win that, and we do see that for the last 2 rounds. Success coming from the University of Buffalo, and I think it's off the back of the fact that they adapted. They switched it up. They came through and played that same level of aggression to match. I just don't think they were initially anticipating that level of aggression. And so when they bring it out themselves, like you had stated, you got to go tit for tat in that situation. You have to match them up to be able to show that same level of success.
Yeah, and I really hope we can see that with Buffalo being on the attack starting now for the second half of the round or second half of the match, because as the attackers, it starts in their hands. So as long as they can really take the rest of this match by the neck and make it their own, and take the hold of the pacing of the match, I think that's probably what's going to be what helps them to stick out the rest of this match.
Yeah, I mean, judging from what we're seeing right now in terms of like what they're picking in this screen, I think that they're bringing the vigil out again, denying the information, and it did find success in Secura's hands. So you can definitely find success in your own account, but I think there's a lot you have to worry about. Switches are continuously being made. You're able to do that at this stage. I would fully expect both teams to completely switch up their strategies. If it's a side pick or a pick you're not really expecting, I would expect you to fully do it because it's still up on the stream, so they can totally see what they're bringing into the battle already. And you know everything. You see them moving it around and shaking it up, but. I do want to point out, as we are, as my thing is currently sitting at 144p. I don't know why. The attack right now, we're seeing an ace, and that's going to be your main reliant hard breach. And while we are going up to the initiation room in office, you're not starting off in throne room, which is the complete opposite of what we saw previously. We have yet to see a tertiary objective. We have yet to see that come through, just because of the back-to-back failures that we did see from the University of Buffalo's side. So I think you need to think about how you're going to hold, and you need to think about how you're going to attack. And I
just got coconut mall.
And I know that I know that sounds pretty normal, right? That sounds like, think about how you attack, but no, you have to really delve deep into this, and you can't think about it beforehand. You have to think about it during as well. It's not something you can just muscle memory your way through. Adaptability, reactivity, you need both of those to be able to progress as a player and to find success.
Yeah, I think as far as that goes, we're seeing similar lineups, like you were saying. I don't know about adaptability really coming in for this round. I think we'll be talking about that a lot coming into the second round and obviously beyond that. But similar lineups to what we saw on opposite sides. They both are sort of, approaching this map the same way. We've got information denial, a good mix of roamers. We've got Ace for the hard destruction, IQ for vertical, Nomad for the flanks. I think we'll see a lot less of that flank watch from Buffalo because Marymount had no fear to double up on flank watch on Nomad and Gridlock, which is really out there, honestly. And it worked, too.
Yeah, I mean, you can't have fear in those situations, right? Like, fear is your worst enemy, and not just like a movie line kind of scenario. Yeah, I mean, it really and truly is. Like, you can't be scared of these engagements. And I think that's definitely something we saw from Marymount. They weren't scared to swing around that corner and win that firefight. They were confident in winning that firefight. And it was something that really caught, the University of Buffalo off guard. And so they adapted, and they obviously came out to a tie at the half. And I wanted to ask your input. Another one, we'll talk a little bit more about the updates coming out for the game itself. And Malusi. Right? I mean, they had removed the angle grip on Malusi already, and only have the
I think
grip.
it's a godsend to see these Malusi nerfs. Like,
The
we've all
Wub-Wubs,
suffered for too
terrible.
long already from Lucy.
The Wub-Wubs are terrible now, though. I mean, like,
Yeah.
the second they show up, you just one bullet kind of remove them. Now, if they're high ground, actually, it kind of relies a little bit about playing. If they're a little higher, you can't actually see that internal spawn to shoot. It's still bulletproof. So,
Yeah, I
because
think
I'm
you'll
playing
be
on the test server all day.
I think they'll be a little more situational. We see sometimes those Malusi gadgets that are put up behind you on stairways, where if you're going to get rid of it, you've got a 180 and totally take yourself out of any gunfights that you're taking coming up those stairs and around corners. So I think it's going to give you more of an advantage similar to a barbed wire, and it's going to be a little more situation instead of just plopping it down anywhere. I mean, I think that's the real problem with Malusi when she literally can't not give utility. Just put it wherever you feel like, and it's gonna do something. Like
I
that's just
mean,
too ridiculous for any defender to have.
yeah, I mean, to be fair, I stopped playing the game when Malusi came out. I mean, she was busted at release, right?
Yeah.
she was she was bad in release.
It's
She
like a
was
Jaeger 2.0.
yeah. Oh my goodness, like it was awful. It was awful, and like on top of the fact that like it was the you have to clear everything to step inside. You basically, if you don't play these same 5 operators, you can't find success. And I know that's not what they want in the first place, and they found that success. Ubisoft changes so far have been phenomenal. I think that they've definitely done a lot, but I think some of the newer changes coming out can, take a little on the nose. Like they're a little jarring, right? It's like a very, very wide difference. I think they're cool. Don't get me wrong, but since
Yeah,
I don't play at this level.
I guess yeah. Don't get to have firsthand experience. We're just casters, not good enough to actually
We just
be
get to
out
make
there on
fun
the
of you
front
when
lines.
you fail the new meta, right? Like,
Yeah, it's a nice caster privilege.
yeah. Thankfully, there's a reason why we're in this booth and not actually playing because we're
Yeah,
pretty bad.
I get to hide my flicks. No one gets to see
Yeah.
those.
No one gets to see me do that bad terribly. To be fair, I don't even play ranked. I'm a secure area king. Okay, don't even try me. I will beat you every time.
Always, almost as bad as those hostage players.
I'm not
Get
that bad.
stick in the head.
Listen, I'm telling you, after doing casting for a long time, and I hadn't had the opportunity to play as much because of really investing in casting, I came back and finally started playing again, and I had no idea where any of the objectives were. I kept going to the actual like bomb objectives. I was like, where are they? I was really confused.
Oh, it always takes me for such a loop on secure area. I'm the SpongeBob meme, like the caveman. I have no idea where anything is. I just run around the map until I find something.
Yeah, what do you think I play Vigil? Just running in circles.
Don't
I'm
even
just
know
a
where nothing
crazy
is
man.
except for heads.
I know nothing but how to press left click. That's it. That's all I know
Yep.
how to do. And I'm not even good at that. I'll go ahead and admit it. My KD may show otherwise, but I think that's just because people don't pay attention when you just run in the first 5 seconds, right? Find the closest spawn, always go there, run straight in. It's the number one strategy. And I definitely think we saw a little bit of that from Marymount. We're back to the actual game itself. The aggression that came through from them, that was, unprecedented, I would say. And it's something that you can't do. We definitely see them slowing back. Something you can't do on Throne Room because it's centralized in the map. You have to clear everything out slowly because it's basically smack dab in the center. The only side that isn't smack dab in the center is a solid wall. You can't even come in from that side anyway, so it doesn't matter. So you have to progress through to even get there. It's not like a one room and done situation. It's like a full room, full reinforced wall, disgusting angles around corners. I think Theme Parks rework is one of the best reworks for a map ever.
Absolutely. The map was a ridiculous labyrinth before. And now even, in the heart of the map with Throne Room, it is deep inside the map, and you'll get flanked if you just rush in there. There's several rooms behind it on either side. You don't get to just rush in there. It kind of stops that monkey brain play. But at least the rest of it is a lot more linear and open and allowing for fair and even gunfights. Like
Yeah, I
I like
definitely
what you were
think
saying about fear earlier, actually. The fear being the mind killer and such, and Marymount really approaching the attack with no fear. And I was thinking about the gridlock nomad option, and when you can just put down all of that utility into making sure that Sakura and Jace on the roam are never going to catch up to you from behind, then you can just face forward and end those defenders in sight, and that's just what they did.
I definitely think when you face check, that often, right? Like something will eventually go wrong, and I definitely think that's what came happen. Like eventually, It took a while, but eventually, University of Buffalo
Yeah.
realized that, hey, if you're going to face check, I'll face check too. They gained a little bit of confidence. The fear dissipates eventually, and that's something good to see. So good to see that they're not like their confidence isn't molding, right? They're not slowing down. They're like 3 back to back. We're getting our butts handed to us, right? No, they said, hey, they aren't that good. We can do that. Like we'll turn around, right? It's just one of those things. It's one of those like when you play in a team or you have an environment, you play like that. Right? Here you go, guys. Come on, we can do this. Like this is not something we can do. We can absolutely handle this type of situation, and I think that they definitely learned on that. However, what's happening right now is a complete enigma. I have no clue what's happening because I think it should just play. Oh, wait, the question has come through if our producer wants to answer the question that's coming through inside of the chat. But pause is supposed to be 5 minutes. We've been sitting here for like 15. So I think it's supposed to just play on. It should just play on. But the question is whether it will.
Are you seeing it play on right now? I think
we are. It is
I've
live.
got round 7 right now.
Yeah, we are round 7. It's fully playing right now.
Yeah, I see. As long as we're all on the same page. A minute in this match, and we're getting that first gunfight. Ducks pushed in through Cafe, and Hope on that roam, just like the roam he was trying to clear out for so much of the attacking phase. Now he's on that vigil, really harrying them upstairs, but now backing off, not really wanting to retake that gunfight, which is a wise choice always.
I mean, especially when you're one man down, right?
Yeah.
You can't die in this situation. I mean, they're gonna need to get aggressive at some point. Something we've seen from Marymount constantly. You need that level of aggression, and unfortunately, it doesn't work out. Score will fall. Your Legion out for the count. One of the players you desperately need to stay alive as long as possible, because the longer he's alive, the more utility he has. So losing that early on is going to be a huge detriment for the Marymount defense.
Luckily, Marymount does have 2 of their fraggers still up on the board, between Hope and Ape. And Tripped is in a good position here to just hold up sight with his SMG-11. He's got the info denial, which hopefully will give him a little bit more time before the attackers pull up on him. And with 45 seconds left, it's gonna look a little bit crunchy for Buffalo, especially since they did have such a man advantage starting right off the bat.
Yeah, starting with a man advantage, and it's a 5-3 now. You get the first kill as well. That's huge. That is such a punch in the gut for the Marymount defense. You aren't going to have it kind of go in. They're going to go along that railing above the actual white stairs. The Nomad Utility thrown and a combination with Ying, and it's going to catch him off guard. Tripp's going to swing straight in. Missed a mute jammer, but he did kill the enemy as well. Ape's going to find the first kill finally for the Marymount defense. That's going to be on top of Locky, but Sledge has already had the damage done. He's going to hold now inside of the bathroom. You have your opposition of Hope, who's going to try and hold inside the other side, but it's not going to matter. Duck will get the C7E kill onto him, and Ape's going to push in very aggressively, get shot from behind from within vault, and it's not going to matter. Sakura finding the last kill, and Ying finding success, which, just FYI, Ying's one of my favorite operators in the game. I just love to see the Ying come out.
And Sakura making a very good showing with that absolutely milli rocking mute back there in the armory. He's not prepared for that one bit.
That's almost as bad as Cars. He just group walks into the objective.
Zooming up in there.
Oh,
but it was really rough for Ape there. Going for that flank, something solely needed, especially once attackers got into the objective. He was a little bit late to cut them off, and that smoke just stopped him from doing anything. Absolutely locked out of objective. Already at such a terrible man disadvantage, but at least he did manage to take one off the board for his team.
yeah, I mean, you got to look at the positive side for that, right? You do have to take a look and say, hey, this is what you did right, but small mistakes. And I guess one big small mistake is, I don't know, paying for the wrong internet company. I wish we had a sponsor from an internet company to say maybe you should have tried, but no. I mean, like something happened, maybe a breaker tripped or something like that. I mean, maybe something
definitely
happened.
not to say anything bad about Ape's play there. I think he did all that he could in that situation. Down a man, losing first pick. Like, what are you gonna do?
I mean, at this stage, you had that pause that went on for like 15 minutes. I mean, that's past the time. It's supposed to be like a 5-minute pause. So I think at this stage, it just plays out. Marymount's gonna have to play the rest of this a man down, which sucks. I mean, if you are a Marymount or you're a Marymount fan or from Marymount, that sucks. Even as a caster, you don't like to see a game that's so even, so split, that is going to be now such a detriment to one side that already has the detriment of being forced to attack in the second half. Sorry, that's being forced to attack in the first half because it's hard to kind of handle. You did do well for yourself in the first half of the attack, but you obviously wish you had done a little bit better considering you're now a man down.
Yeah, every little bit that seemed like extra credit before is sorely needed now. But we did see a really solid showing from Marymount on attack, and now they've got the advantage of defense. They're man down, but maybe for them they see it as like sort of evening up the count. Like definitely a detriment to them, but
nah, we see this as a pure win. What's that Hulk meme from Avengers?
Yeah.
I see this as an absolute win. So I think Marymount's coming out swinging. They're excited for this, but no, I mean, there's a lot you can think about positively, but there is a limit to thinking positively, and I can't believe I'm saying this, but an Iron Sight in P7 is definitely a positive.
What? No, that Iron Sight is great. So
I actually agree. I like the Iron Sight. That's the only gun I like the Iron Sight for. But
yeah, same.
Why? Just use the hollow. It's going to be a very, very long attack, though. I mean, University of Buffalo, they have the room to make mistakes. You do have that extra man advantage. But at the same time, you kind of want to get the round over quickly so that there's no chance that sub player can get in, right? Like, win these rounds now. If the sub comes in, then it might be too late. Maybe that's the player that's going to carry them to victory, right? I mean, Smash was a very strong player in the first half, had found rapid success, and was doing very successfully for themselves. So I feel like if I'm the University of Buffalo, win fast, quick, get this rounds over with. Try and go up as fast as possible. Stay safe, obviously, but act on it. Don't go complacent. Keep moving.
Yeah.
Don't stop too
Instead,
long.
Buffalo's going with their kind of signature conservative slow move. They're not doing anything without intel on it, which is nice. It stops them from losing any of their players pretty early on in the last round. But they could do it a lot faster against Marymount since they're just holding angles here. This is going to be the start of it, though. Locky picking up that kill on Hope. It's going to be important, giving them some more ground. But they really have to get through that next threshold, get through a couple walls, and then we're going to see some gunfights on these corners like what Abe and the score are watching.
Yeah, the firefight continues to go off. Sakura will find the first kill after that. You don't have to rely on Locky for everything, and Locky still does have double nades in hand. So think about how much extra utility, and as we're talking about utility, the smoke grenades will go off. Think about how much extra utility is available. Score will find the first score on the scoreboard for the Marymount defense. They'll finally get one onto Duck, but Locky will trade it right back between the LE5, who will find success into Abe. And now the last man standing of Score. His best bet right now, besides killing Jace in this situation, is to kill the plant actually going off. You won't be able to, however. Diffuser will be planted, and now the Score is left in a post-plant scenario. But Sakura does not like eyeballs, and he's going to continue to throw these out, and he's going to finish him off as well. Absolutely nothing the Score can do, especially when your eyeballs are lasered, and you basically just got new cataracts.
I love that post-plant plan of just having Sakura say, no, you don't get to play the game. We're just waiting for the timer to go out. Or once I get bored enough, I'll come get you myself.
Yeah, I mean, just keep him in there. He's trapped. Stay over there. That's your room now. You're dedicated to a timeout. There is a rehost available. They can use the rehost if they want it. That's fairly normal across the board. The issue is the fact that their pause cannot count. They can't make a sub mid-game either. So if their player wants to come in, then they can do that. But
yeah, so all they can right now is more stalling for time, hoping the internet. Oh.
Either way, it won't be too big of a deal. We're gonna take a cheeky little pause. I think, and the rehost will come through if they so want that rehost to come through. We'll have it come through, and we will have to see the throne room objective be played next. Now, first time we're seeing Marymount really go for this throne room objective. We've seen them play a different, the tertiary objective. We've seen them play inside of daycare already. So we've seen that. We can chalk that off the theme park bingo. We've got bingo. It. We've got bingo. Like, but no, this is my favorite objective in most maps of Siege. Like, just by far. This theme park's a fun map in the first place, but throne room is by far one of the coolest rooms. It's one of the hardest to attack and to defend onto, because if you can get the right utility throw, like the right nades off and the right damage, destruction on range, there's no defending behind the actual throw.
Yeah, it just becomes like being fish in a barrel.
Yeah, absolutely. It's rapid. You will rapidly lose that fight if you stay there too long, and especially with the fact that we know that Maverick's banned. He's out, right? We can't play with Maverick, so you don't really have a way to clear out the Mute Jammers. Which, by the way, let's take a minute to talk about Mute. Mute's going to be a perma ban coming forward. Like, he will be banned in every situation. I mean, he can now Mute Jam Claymores.
That's so sick. I think justice for Mute always sort of getting overshadowed by Smoke as the juggernaut of the SAS defense. But Mute's got his time to shine, and he's already a really good operator, and he's going to continue to just have more and more things that he can do, and so much more versatility on what he can bring to the team.
Yeah, I think versatility is exactly what you kind of want in Siege. You don't want any one player to be forced to play one style, right? Ash can play slow. Ash doesn't have to be a entry fragger. It's just the speed and the R4C that really guarantee that extra potential for that. You can play slow with the reaching charges. You can play a little bit laid back to kind of play that refrag capability on Ash. And they have that capability to go back and forth, unlike Ape in this situation, because they're going to go down from the LSW in the hands of Sakura. But I think every operator has that double-sided dice kind of situation. They can do any situation, but Mute's one of those ones who can't. Right? You're not going to see a Mute roam, because in high-level play you won't see the MP5 in hand from a Mute. You'll actually see an MP5 in the hand from a Smoke on Clubhouse when you hold down tunnel. You'll see the MP5 in hand if they want to sit behind a shield in tunnel and play that long-range distance, but you're not going to see it basically any other time. So it's those SAS ops are very kind of set in stone. They're concrete in their playstyles.
Yeah, so getting some more versatility, I think, will be really nice on mixing that up. Buffalo's not really mixing it up here, keeping up, playing a very clinical way.
Here, production, can you actually make it so that chat can see the game? Storyhouse does not come through. There we go. All right.
All right. There's another loss on the offensive Duck. We're left with Banshee and the score on defense. Holding down a large area in the throne room. Oh, and there's Sakura off the board. That's a really important pick and a really ballsy play.
I mean, you come in swinging with the MP7, like, you've got to have high hopes in that situation. Hope will definitely try to be the high hope, but Lonky will secure that one down. The frags go, he drops one, but he's going to eventually go down, and the score will succumb to the RX in the hands of the Nomad of Civ Kerman. Civ Kerman, wide variety of operator utility that's coming through. We played Maestro for basically the entirety of the defense. Obviously, you feel comfortable with the LMG, the Alta, not bringing an LMG on the attack, instead opting for a normalized assault rifle. So, a lot happening, but the match being a 3-6, I honestly am totally lost as to what's going on right now. I'll be brutally honest with you. I mean, because do they want the rehos? Do they not want the rehos? Okay, so just a little bit of a conversation that will happen at some point in time. That's basically just I got and will be explained as to what will happen. But until then, let's talk more about the upcoming update. Because see, I know that I'm really excited for this. I've been playing Flores all day, man. Oh my goodness.
How is he?
He's going to be terrible in competitive play. And I don't mean like he's good. He's terrible. Like, he's not good in competitive play. But for like casual fun, he's so much fun.
Okay.
He's so much fun. But like there's no way he's gonna be viable in comp. You can't get kills with that thing. It's so loud. You can hear that 2 rooms over, right? There's no point in him in high level play. I don't think he's gonna have a presence, especially with the fact that AR-33 has a completely different scope lineup than the AR-33 on Thatcher, despite them being both 2 speed, 2 armor.
Huh? Does he not get the ACOG on that?
No, he gets the 2.0 instead of the 2.5. So it's weird. As a
Makes
man
sense.
who mains Thatcher a lot, because I have black guys in the AR-33, and that's the enemy region. It's weird. I couldn't play him for very long.
Hey guys, admin checking in here. I do apologize, but with one of the players disconnecting, we're gonna have to continue playing out the round. It seemed his entire block's internet just went out. We're not able to sub someone in, so we're gonna have to continue playing it out. Do apologize for that.
Okay, so nothing too different from what we were saying earlier. You can't make a sub mid-game, so unfortunately that player can't come through. They can make a sub in between games, if I remember correctly, between maps, that is. So I think they can actually come in with a new player. So very unfortunate. You don't like seeing that somebody loses internets. I mean, that was obviously a huge problem with, Texas and the South in general recently. So obviously, like, you think, oh, that's all, done with now. But still actual internet problems that can come through and power outages and things like that. So it's unfortunate, but it's just the lay of the land, and it's something that will never get fixed until LANs become a new thing again. And for
Yeah.
things like NECC, which will probably never be a full LAN event, except for maybe like a finals thing, who knows? You're gonna face these problems for the entirety of it.
Absolutely. This is looking really good for Buffalo, though, with that ruling. It's up here on match point, a man up, and with a really attack-sided match on theme park. That seems pretty agreeable for them since they are the ones on attack now. And Sakura just keeping up that crazy tear of kills.
That's one of the reasons why I hate rehosts. I'm kind of glad the rehost didn't come through, right? I mean, it's unfortunate you don't get the rehost and you get your player back, but you would also lose the stats here. You would lose out seeing just how dominant they were. You know, saying, hey, they had 8 kills before the rehost, and then they dropped 6 afterwards. It's like, oh man, 6 kills at that point in that few rounds. That's pretty impressive. No, what's impressive is the fact that he had 8 originally and then 6 afterwards, and he dropped that many kills, right? It kind of lessens the impact of that player, and it's something you kind of have to keep in mind. And unfortunately, while this will be a bit of a detriment towards the Marymount side, the success we saw from them in the first half definitely kind of gives us a point to look forward to in the next map. And if I remember correctly, the next map we are actually going to see is Clubhouse, if I remember correctly.
Yep, that's what
I love Clubhouse. I can't wait to see how they attack this. You cannot monkey swing every angle on Clubhouse. You can. It is just too deadly, too long of hallways, too close of corners when it actually does come compact. It's just not something you're going to be able to see. So it's going to be a flip of coin, basically, of how Marymount's going to do or what strategy they're going to pick up.
There's still a lot of roaming coming out from Marymount on this defense. I think they're trying to play for that gambit, like what we saw earlier with that bandit swing on the front of throne room door. Just absolutely going wild, looking for a hero play to save his team, knowing that have already being down a man, you're going to need some of those theatrics to win it out.
I think that's the best way to phrase it, theatrics. I think it's a good way to phrase it in this situation. You got to put some spice into it, put some pizzazz. And unfortunately, Hope's going to need a lot more than just hope to try and get away from the situation. He will impact himself away. That's his last impact he has. He's going to jump right back into the fray from an off angle. The apex positioning, the dare I say, ballsy play coming from Hope right now is going to probably, or hopefully, give themselves a kill and give them that man-tying lead here with only 1:15 left.
Yeah, Hope's looking so active on that roam, and he's really going to be counting on his gadget and those mute jammers placed around strategically to sort of keep him off the radar, keep himself a mystery, and buy some more time, since they have been able to burn out 2 minutes at a time against Buffalo. But like we've seen before, last minute is really where Buffalo is going to start shining on that attack. So as soon as they can verify that there isn't a Hope just waiting right around that corner, we're going to start opening up yellow wall.
Yeah, it's. I mean, to be fair, it's their hope at your, demise in that situation. You have to hope he's not there. You have to hope Hope's not there, but you're definitely going to want to hope that, Ape doesn't die in that situation, but he unfortunately does. It's going to be Duck. He's going to play a little bit of game of Duck, Duck, Goose and take that one, and Hope's missing shots. That should not be missed, but it's still going to go in the favor of him. Hope's going to find onto Lucky, but there's going to be the trade out. Jace is going to find in return. It's going to be a 2 versus 4. Only 1 kill was able to be grabbed by Hope. They didn't swing it out. Honestly, I think it probably would have been better to reload and then swing it again in that situation. I mean, go for it. You're already in a bad spot. You're not going to be able to make it back into the actual objective room to be that support player. Just take a step back. But it's still a difficult hold now for them. It's going to be very hard for the University of Buffalo to push in the way they want to, especially get it down. Score finds 1 and 2. 1 will entirely flash, but he'll get taken out by Sakura, and defenders will win that one because they bought enough time off of the kills of the score.
I think that really is a testament to Hope's roaming. He's obviously very specialized in that roam clear on attack and that roam on defense. A really active roam, taking up so much of the actual physical map, just making sure that Buffalo has to worry about every corner.
Yeah, that they did. I mean, that's something that we didn't see as much success from the University of Buffalo from Sakura, right? We didn't see.
It's just not as active of a roam game.
Comparing the two of them, comparing Hope and Sakura, Hope's more impactful, I should say, for that roam, right? The fear that Hope is bringing to the University of Buffalo is definitely more than they were bringing to Marymount previously, and I think that it's not exactly warranted. I mean, take the refrag. You're a man up. You'll still be a man up by the end of that engagement. Take the refrag, right? Just play safe for the refrag. Don't spend 2.5 minutes scared of your own toes in that engagement. You're already a man up. You can take it even more if you just push aggressively and catch him off guard. You can't drone out the vigil. The likelihood of you being able to drone out that vigil is 50%. He can have that ability up 50% of the time, and 50% of the time he will kick your rear end if you let him. So you need to play aggressively. You need to catch him off guard, and you need to be the spice in this situation. You need to throw it up. You need to, what was the word you had stated? You need some theatrics. You need some theatrics in there.
Yeah, I think just like you're saying, Buffalo needs to just take it. They're in such a dominant position here. Again, a man up every single round. They're on match point. They have no excuse not to just win this and be indomitable and go into mat 2 and just say, no, this is our match to take. We're not going to go into week 4 on an 0-3 record. Like, we don't deserve to. They're a good team, and they need to know it, and they need to show it to themselves.
I mean, even in this situation, you're one man up. Like, I know you're coming off of 2 losses, right? And that's got to be a little bit of confidence decrease. But like, you're college students, right? You're attending this. You're gonna have ups and downs. College is rough. Everyone who's been in college knows that, right? Like, you persevere, you go beyond, and you'll be a better person coming out of the other end. And I definitely think that can apply to the esport world as well. There's a lot of things you learn, lessons to be learned that you can learn with esports. And I definitely think that's one of the reasons why esports is such a heavy focus of today, right? It's becoming such a prevalent thing. It's because there is so much you can learn from the esport world. And, you know, whether it be interrelations between people, you know, progressing, you know, real world activity, a lot can happen and definitely be in that positive direction. And speaking of positive direction, Locky and now Hope. Locky will find one onto Ape, and that's going to be a detriment, but Hope will try to make it a little less, you know, worse for wear. He's going to stop the bleeding just slightly and take out Jace in the opposition. That's the hard breach that the entire Buffalo side was relying on.
That, like, patient aggressiveness from Hope and the score, really trying to stop anyone getting in from Cafe, guns blazing at every opportunity. Was really doing a lot to slow this attack yet again. Losing another teammate here, Hope taken down as well as Ape, is probably sealing the deal here at 2v4, is going to take more of those theatrics like we've been talking about.
I don't think you're going to be able to pull too much of a theatrics when you're kind of stuck inside Vault. He's thankfully moved a little bit away. I think he's actually going to head behind the actual bar inside of the actual office room. But Shrimp is going to hang out still in initiation. And there is going to be some nades that get thrown through. It looks like the attack has switched over. You know, University of Buffalo, they're going to try and take that side step in the other direction. They're going to go to the south side. The gang will go off, but it's not enough. Trip will get blinded at the last second, but not before he's able to find Sakura. But he'll get traded out in return. It's now going to rely on the score. Locky finds one with a C70, and it's going to be a 1 versus 3. The T5 SMG, when no longer having the 1.5, will make this a little bit more difficult for him, but it doesn't even seem to matter. Civ Kerman, the nomad we've seen throughout this entire attacking side for University of Buffalo, will come through and find the last kill to give a game said and done. Whether you want to call it a good game or not, it's an unfortunate game because the one-player loss definitely doesn't put things in that direction. So that's, unfortunate for the Marymount California University squad, but, what can you do about it?
Yeah, I think that was a really dynamic first half. I was super excited to see a second half after that. Losing the man really left us with that slow burn of Buffalo just taking it at their own pace. They knew that they could win it, and they got it.
I'm sorry, what was that, producer? Okay, so we'll talk for just a second or two longer. We'll do a short break after that, but I definitely want to keep an eye out for Hope in that situation, right? Like, what's that song, My Hope Will Never Die? Obviously, it felt like it right there, right? I definitely, despite being a man down, Hope and the score had gotten 10 kills each. And Hope's kills were a lot more impactful, I'd say, especially on the defensive flanking side. Like you had stated, the impact of those kills had to slow down and just the pressure that was put on. Definitely keep an eye out for MVP of this matchup. Despite them losing, map 1 here, they could come back. They can make the thing. And even if they do lose, right, you can still pick an MVP from the opposing side, right? They're a valuable player. Unfortunately, maybe you just don't have as many valuable players as the opposition, but it's really about which one is the most valuable one. We will head to a short break. We'll send it right over to that. And my name is Infernosis, joined here by Treasure. We'll catch you guys in the next matchup over on Clubhouse.
like today? Another Cloud 2 classic?
I'll stick with the usual. Maybe take a little bit off the sides.
Oh, that's fresh.
The HyperX Cloud 2 Wireless. Legendary comfort goes wireless.
Hey, watch your head.
Hello, welcome back. We're here with Map 2 of University of Buffalo, University at Buffalo, Team 2, and Marymount University. After Marymount, California. I'm getting corrected here
We're
by
really
producer.
struggling here. We're really
Yeah,
Long
there's
day,
so many
long
different
day.
ways to name a university,
Yeah.
and they're getting me at every turn.
yeah. I
But
go
we
to
had
the
a
University
really
of Basket
really
Weaving, so-
solid first map on Theme Park. We're headed to Clubhouse for map 2, and hopefully with a full team on both sides, we'll be able to see a lot more competition throughout the full map.
Yeah, unfortunate situation to have one man down, of course, but you know, they can surmount the comeback. The capability of coming through on this one. But let's take a second to talk a little bit about Clubhouse specifically. There's obviously a lot that can go on Clubhouse. Do you want to touch on that?
I think it's a really important map for the attack to get a lot of walls open. It's got a couple very linear takes that are really important at the beginning. Getting that CCTV wall, getting the jacuzzi wall, potentially construction wall, and on the basement, those hatches. So I think we're going to be paying a lot of attention to those hard breaching operators and the support players because they're vital to determining the rate at which a round goes.
So would you say there's a definite meta for Clubhouse?
Oh boy, I would say that there's an important meta based around that hard breaching. And we're actually brought to you by Meta.
Meta Pro Gaming, which is a full-service esports management, developmental, and consulting company. Meta provides esports coaching, college esports management, arena design, and equipment. And if you wanna learn more about them, you can go over to metaprogaming.gg to learn more. I mean, you own like a little group of things here at Treasury, and you run stuff like Sunday draft tournaments and things like that. I mean,
Oh, absolutely.
there's some esports management stuff that goes on there, but if you want full-fledged college esport management as well as arena design equipment, then Meta's your go-to place to do. Professionals handling that type of situation. Not to call you not a professional, but
Hey,
Meta's the place.
I just run a community Discord. 9-Ball Esports, putting it out there. There's my my self plug real quick.
Sorry, I only listen to 3-Ball Esports. It's
Yeah,
got a little
keep
bit
it
too
into
many
low
there.
numbers.
Yeah, I can't count that high. No brain, no work that high.
I understand that. I try to
Listen,
keep away from counting as much as possible.
There's a reason why Siege only goes to 7. So this is as high as I can count.
Yeah, everyone's got problems once we start doing competitive, and you got to keep track of more rounds than like a possible 8. It's just too much.
How dare you go to overtime? How dare one team not just lose?
Yeah.
How dare it be a very fun and eventful back and forth action kind of matchup?
Back in my day, we just had one round and we liked it.
Back in my day, we lost or won. That's it. Oh my goodness! But I think we are. Actually ready to go into it. I think possibly yes, indeed we are. Match has begun. We'll get straight right into this. Clubhouse, one of my favorite maps. This is going to be a huge, subroof kind of game style kind of thing. That eastern subroof towards CCTV is going to be a heavy push for the tertiary objective and for the cash room and CCTV objective. And in terms of, the actual basement objective, because we're never going to see the barn stock room objective. In terms of I know, right? In terms of the basement objective, a heavy focus on dirt and a heavy focus on kitchen is going to be what we're more than likely going to see.
I'm really interested to see these operator picks. I am not banking on us seeing anything too surprising here. The Thatcher and Kaid are absolutely the go-to on just about every clubhouse. Seeing Ace as the first one instead of that Thatcher is a little bit of a surprise. I know he's a huge problem for bandit tricking, and maybe we'll get to see a little bit of that.
Yeah, I mean, one of your go-to bands is usually Habana as that hard breach because of the impact the pellets have on that kitchen hatch for basement. Removing the Selmas is interesting. You usually see an Ace and a Maverick in play. That's usually your go-to too. And if you're not going to see the Ace, you'll see a Maverick and Habana. You'll see like a split for that. This is all in terms of the basement. When it comes to the actual outside eastern suburb for the CCTV hold, you're more than likely going to see a Maverick clear that wall and a Sophia to impact it out to kind of remove the extra utility. Right? You're more than likely going to see a Maverick instead of any other hard breach besides maybe the Habana to breach into garage.
So, I think we're definitely going to be seeing a lot of Habana.
We're going to see a lot of Habana. In this last band, I'm calling it Mira. I'm calling it. All right. If it's not Mira, then this is awesome. I love to see Mira.
Well, there it is, though. She just locks down a lot of important sight lines, really good on Blue Rim in the basement, Really good watching into CCTV from Cash, making that objective a kill room. Really hard to plant in that situation when you've got a mirror just watching over your shoulder the whole time.
Great church hold. You can know which direction the opposition is coming from. Because you can hear the hatch get broken out inside Memorial, so you don't have to worry about that room as much. But that church hold is definitely, like, being able to spot down that main central stairs in a safe position is a huge plus side if you're defending. And speaking of church, we are going to see church and Arsenal Room being the go-to objective to start off on. And in terms of the actual operators I'm seeing, why do I see a vigil? This is I actually kind of want to see it. I'm going to go ahead and say it.
Yeah.
I want to see a heavy roam from the defensive side. I want to see them come out here from Marymount, California University. I want to see them come out swinging heavy early on, but they need to be able to take the step back and approach it from a different direction. One thing we need to point out, and this is disgusting, 3 hard breachers.
I'm not the least bit surprised. It's really good for the inevitability of this basement hold. Obviously, as we were talking about, Habana is really important for those hatches. And if you really want to get everything done, taking 3 hard breachers is not unheard of. On the other side with Marymount, I think we're looking at most likely a pretty textbook SSG hold. That means they're going to have a really wide roam, not too many operators left on site. They're going to set up these castles in order to funnel the attackers through the 2nd floor and 1st floor, make it easier to determine what direction they're coming from, and use that mute and visual to keep that information denial and make it easier to roam wide and retreat quickly back to site when the push gets there.
Yeah, but one thing you do have to keep an eye out for when you are bringing that extra hard breacher in, you typically do see 2 entries. You see them like usually Zophian and Ash together, and then the 1 roam denial, and then your 2 hard breach. We're not going to see that with the 3 lineup, like you had spoken about. It's not too shocking, but it is shocking on a map like Clubhouse, where we are actually seeing roam game coming through from Marymount's defense. So it's something we have to keep an eye out for. Civ is going to be the only person possible there to deny, and now it's going to be hard for Ape to come around that backside through blue, because that's now castled off, and it's going to be that much more difficult for him to escape with his life.
Looks like Buffalo wasted no time opening up that kitchen hatch, already cleared out kitchen, but Ape is waiting for them to try and go into kitchen themselves. Got that crazy little peek from up top. And like I was saying, roaming real wide, keeping eyes on the 2nd floor and main stairs.
So, sitting inside logistics is not a bad idea at all. I hope, you're going to have to worry about the attack going inside kitchen. You have a sideline from above. You can catch that off. And they did not reinforce the west side wall of church at all. They
It's going to put a lot of pressure on the scorer to hold that angle. He's got a little punch hole for watching main stairs, but that's a lot of wall that's very soft and very well bangable.
held by a UMP, the weakest gun in Siege.
I appreciate the bravado. Definitely signature in
some
this
confidence.
matchup on
There's some confidence there. Now, we do see Abe up top inside Logi. We'll find 1 kill from above. Tokyo will fall first. That's your Thermite out for the count. The Thermite only needed to do one thing. It was basically just an extra bit of distraction. And I think they were going to rely on him specifically at the start to take that kitchen hatch out, but obviously not in play anymore. They focused first on the bar hatch, and they're going to take that one out first. And Duck, who's already made his way inside of the dirt, has cleared that out as well, with the nades being taken out as well. So, 2 nades gone. The only nades you have for your attacking assault. The Mavericks kind of situated very deep on tunnel already. Shots will connect here between the score and Locky will finish it off. Sorry, not Locky will finish it off. It's going to be Sid that finishes it off, but Abe will finish off secure on the other direction. Abe, the roamer right now, finding 2 and finding success very rapidly.
We're still seeing a pretty wide roam with those lurkers still out there, but 30 seconds on the clock now. Only Duck and Civ left. They don't have diffuser, and there's a lot of roam to clear. Civ isn't even able to get towards the basement, and it's taken out by Ape still, all the way up in the 2nd floor. Duck has to shoot his way out of dirt. There's nothing else for him to do. And, fish in a barrel, that's finally going to get it. Crazy Man on the MP5K, clutching it out for the team.
I take it back, Abe, 100%. Your roam from your side, it's not Hope, it's not Hope that's doing it, but the roam from your side is disgusting in a good way. You guys have found rapid success. And, if they had, taken our word of advice, like we had spoken about before at the end of the last map, you say, hey, don't be so scared of the roam. I'm giving you the complete opposite advice this time. You should be scared. That right there is proof you should be scared. And a clubhouse is an entirely new monster from theme park. These sight lines you can gain on these soft wooden floors are going to decimate you, and you need to pay attention to those. And bringing the 3 hard breach, you don't have that extra level of protection. Bring a gridlock. Bring a gridlock. Take the nomad and gridlock. Bring them both. Just play them both.
Do it.
Do it.
Never look back.
We saw phenomenal success in the last game from that. Well, it wasn't your team that did it, but you still saw phenomenal success from it.
They're not going to quite take a page out of Marymount's book, but I think we're going to be looking a lot at that flank denial from Civ. He had to spend a lot of time clearing out to try and find Ape, and at the end, Ape ended up finding him. But if he isn't able to lock Ape out of that flank, then it's going to be really hard to tamp down on that roam game.
Yeah, you definitely do need to clamp down on that situation. You gotta pincer maneuver your way in. When it comes to this objective, we'll probably see 1, maybe 2 come from the actual Jacuzzi side. It's not left in force, so you can have that one player go. 8 may actually go over there to reinforce, which would put a damper in. Indeed, he is going to go reinforce Jacuzzi. So that might put a damper, maybe not play in that direction, but we do see the Habana, we do see the Maverick, so you are going to see Maverick go up top on the eastern subroof, create one sight line, clear one half of the wall, allow for possibly the Ash to kind of clear that out in the other way, in a very normal standard push. I don't know why you're bringing the Thermite here. I can't think of a very good scenario where the Thermite's going to show a heavy presence in a positive way, except for within construction, where you can open up that western construction wall.
Yeah, and I think like you were saying, taking the 3 hard breach and losing out on some alternate utility is going to hurt a little bit with those castle barricades being up, and only Ash being there to effectively take advantage, or to effectively clear those out. They've got frags on Maverick, but those are going to be pretty important on the breach.
Yeah, when we did see Duck use those grenades as a way to clear the castle barricades previously, and those are still going to be an issue to worry about, but a very standard kind of push right now coming from Sakura. Going from below, creating a small little rotation hole, using the Habana pellets in the actual garage wall will give the ability to step in and possibly catch a player off guard. The score might actually have gotten information here to try and help his side out. The foot does get seen for a second, not sure if they're going to act on it, but Sakura will eventually close in and secure the kill on the score. However, the rush will come out. Shrimp is going to try and find, and he will after a bit of a floppy engagement between the two of them, and it's going to be Sakura who can't find safety in time for the gun to get away.
That was a great pick to get. Kind of interesting play to have the score playing that UMP up on the rafters. Not well suited to go up against direct fight against that Type 89 that Sakura had. But that's fairly even trading. Minute 20 seconds left on the clock, and bridge is still closed. A lot of operators out there trying to get it. So that's a bit of time wasted due to that Maverick taking a while to open it up.
Why did they not Maverick trick that wall?
Hope. That's really great, doing his job tamping down that roam, and going to give more opportunity for them to actually execute on site.
Why did they not Maverick trick that eastern suburb? They only got the first half, which is a sightline half, I might add. If you're only going to do that half, it's a sightline. Tripped will find Tokyo. It's a 3-3 now off the back of that kill, but Tripp's going to be in a dangerous situation. He can't step away. He doesn't see in time. He manages to down Locky, but the gunfight's going to go the other way, and they're going to give the opportunity to now pick up Locky. And it's going to be Duck who finds and secures the finish onto Tripped. They have a very heavy garage push. They can step in when necessary, but Ape has made the full rotation back, holding in a dangerous spot within CCTV, actually behind the actual initial equipment. And it's going to be a difficult decision for how they're going to attack. Duck, who has the last nade, he's probably going to try and step up in a direction to get one. The backward push by Locky is going to deny Ape's spot in that position, which will also deny the sight line to defend the actual diffuser where it is, currently trapped on eastern suburb. So the flank will come up. It's going to be Duck that heads up there first. They need to kill Ape in this situation. Crazy Man will kill Locky instead. It's a 2v2. Duck needs to step in, get diffuser down. He'll try to find one. He will. He's going to have to start the diffuser placement. Civ needs to be in a spot to defend and help him, but Crazy Man, who's stepping up, is going to find Civ instead. He can't jump through, and he's going to step off of the actual diffuser placement. I don't know why. There's a lot of questions I have from that round. 1, why did you not Maverick trick the eastern suburb? 2, what happened to the diffuser placement?
It was just a misuse of utility, I think, that we saw. A little focus on taking out a few of those roamers. Just a heavy focus on those frags. Just distracted Buffalo from making better use of their utility. And they set themselves up to only have 15 seconds left on site, having to get through Ape. And by the time they finally got Ape down, Crazy Man was poised there, ready to finish it out.
It's such a Yeah, I mean, Crazy Man coming through. I think the term is coming in clutch. Uh,
As the kids
but
say.
as the cool kids say these days, he came in clutch with his sweet pog champs and coming in bro, or whatever the term is.
Coming in, bro.
But yep. Again, small mistakes eventually surmount the one big mistake, which is ultimately losing the round. And Marymount having success on the defense, and that last one, I don't think if we had seen a successful Maverick trick on the wall, maybe it's just fear of the Nitro Cell, of the throne. They only had one left, and that was in the hands of Crazy Man, right? When the Maverick trick was just, gave up on and they took the Thermite instead. The Nitro Cell, you can get away from that safely. I think if I am, the university at Buffalo, you kind of need to look at the situation. You need to take a look at the VOD, and you need to watch some other higher level play VODs, some more, T2, maybe even Pro League kind of situation about how they attack these. Learn a little bit of those Maverick tricks that you're capable of doing. You don't need to bring 3 hard breach here. You need to know how to use your 2 hard breach successfully.
I think that's going to be the key. Something we're going to keep seeing for the next 4 rounds here. And hopefully we can see that turn around and have a little more time to go for that execute. Maybe a little closer to that 30 seconds of this very utility-heavy meta.
Did you say meta?
Oh god, we hit a loop.
We've looped. We've come back full circle. No, I mean, Marymount's done a very good job of holding on, and I definitely have to give them good props to that. But that last round should have gone to University of Buffalo. Small mistakes. There was no way for Crazy Man to jump through that. The rotation was not entirely set in stone. It was shotgunned down. I believe it was the bailiff in the hands of the Maestro on their side that kind of made the rotation a little bit wonky, so he couldn't actually leap through it. So he had the time to get Diffuser down and situate themselves. There was no need to step off in that situation. And unfortunately, your support that you have of Civ to help you out in that situation, the Nomad, just not turning in the right direction to find the kill. So small mistakes lead to the one big one. But there is going to be a very normal push from the east to the west, and it's going to be a pincer, as you do see Tokyo on the outside edge as well. He's going to hold out and wait on the Jacuzzi side to try and pincer when necessary.
It's interesting to see Ape here switch to an actually anchoring operator on that Maestro. Although anchoring pretty far out, all the way in cash, he's looking to get some heavy frags alongside Banshee and really stall this east side attack.
I want you to think about what's going to happen once Aruni comes into play, right? How much slower this defensive hold is going to be. How much more time they can buy inside this catch room. Because right now you're having to rely on the Alda as a damage utility. You're having to rely on, Malusi, Wubs to come through, and Rooney Gay comes through. It's going to be even worse. 2 frags will drop. Locky will drop for the UV Bravo side. Hope Banshee now Ape will drop for the Marymount side. Duck managed to find the frag in that direction. On to Ape, and now Tripped, who was trying to get in a situation to help his team, was not actually able to secure the kill in the right side. Crazy Man on the flank from the other side. He's going to try and slowly work his way around and jam, and here's the flank coming from the score. He's going to come from behind all the way inside of the garage. This is a very late style roam, but Tripped, who will actually step in with aggression, will find Duck on return. The 416C will find its success. Now the score coming up with the T5 SMG, no 1.5 available left on it. The stand up and the flank, he's not even going to wait it out. He's just going to kill and keep shooting to make sure they're dead in this spot.
There's that number advantage finally getting on Marymount's side. They've been able to do a lot with their flank, but there's finally been cut off by Sakura. He's very close to having that sideline on Tripped, and with little time, it's not going to count for a whole lot unless he can frag this out and get in really quickly on Crazy Man. But it looks like that 416C right around the corner is not going to let him do that.
I mean, that's a disgusting weapon to have to face off anyways. I mean, there's a reason why the ACOG's been taken off of that gun. There's a reason why the ACOG is not allowed anymore. That was a monster to play with. I don't know if you played back in those times. Back in my days when I was an old
baby, actually.
Yeah. That was disgusting to always have to face. It was fun to use. I got black ice on it a week before they took it off the gun.
Just a glimpse of that glory.
Yeah, I got a week of black ice with the ACOG on that gun, so it was a good time. But unfortunately, I was never a huge Jaeger ACOG fan at the first place. I wasn't the guy that would auto-lock Jaeger and play. I was still a roam kind of guy. I love to just go in and start fragging, which is definitely something we've seen come from both sides here. A little less of the aggressive stance from Marymount. They did have some aggressive roam on that last round. Let's talk about the flank from the score. Coming all the way from Garage from underneath. He was inside Toxic. Came all the way up. Makes the rotation through. Finds the backside once again. A Civ Kerman. Duck, the only person that actually came through Garage, he came through it successfully for his side, and because Duck was the person that came through, Civ did not actually set up the Nomad gadget to deny the roam in that direction, and that was devastating for them. And this is another situation where they need to bring double roam denial, that we saw the same thing from Marymount. But Sakura picking up the Ying. We've seen this. I saw this last week, I saw this the week before, seeing this again here. I love the Ying choice. I love Ying.
He's been absolutely disgusting on it so far. Just picking up kill after kill, flashing out so many rooms, and minimizing the collateral flashing.
Yeah, that's the issue with Ying, isn't it? Teammates have eyes too. Not when I'm playing, that's for sure.
Looks like Ape's clearing out that same upstairs holding logistics, keeping eyes on kitchen like he did before. This time with an operator a little less suited to the roam. Instead of Vigil, we're seeing that smoke. So I'm fascinated to see how that plays out for him.
Yeah, I mean, smoke playing is not too shocking, right? But the issue is, look at how high they're playing. They're playing all the way up on the top floor. Duck, who's facing off against a mute jammer. I mean, it's just buying seconds. Really, that's all it comes down to, because you can see every single one of those, whether it be a bandit battery or a mute jammer or anything. You can see those. The only person that can actually logically defend dirt for any long period of capacity is a Kaid Electro Claw placed in the top right corner. So, I think it's a waste of utility. Play more to the church defense. Deny that entirely. You're going to give up dirt anyways. Just 3 seconds of them shooting, that's not enough time.
Yeah.
I've never liked that.
Especially with the Kaid being banned so often, and the value of a Kaid charge, that can go up on the Moto hatch and really do a lot more to take away time from the attackers for your team.
Yeah, especially with the fact that Kaid can kind of play that Electroclaw as well from the kitchen hatch, can place it inside of the storage racks to the side of the kitchen below, inside the B objective. You can place it in a cheeky spot. Almost everybody knows it, but it's a cheeky spot, and it's very difficult to shoot from above, and it's just not something that's too likely. However, speaking of likely, we'll take a look at the defensive utility that's brought along. Only one impact is left, so more than likely there is going to be no impact strength that's going to find any success. Hope will try to throw. We don't actually know if it found success, as we're over on Ape right now, but there is a roam game fight that could possibly come through as he heads over towards Blue. And Duck did successfully get the hatch over in Kitchen, so that is a good sideline that they've gained, and they wasted out the last impact on the defensive side.
This is a much more anchor-heavy Marymount hold. We're not seeing Ape on that crazy lurk we saw before. Instead, he's opted to play Blue on that smoke, which is going to stall out any push from that side of the map. It doesn't look like Buffalo is really focused on that side, though, so they're losing out on that time that they could be spending really harrying Duck. Duck's got that kind of free vision down through the hatch, and really nothing to stop him earlier in the round from getting kitchen hatch.
Yeah, once we had seen all the impacts getting used up, you'll see a lot of teams that will just 5-stack impact nades for this objective. Like, they will deny as long as humanly possible for that kitchen hatch. And obviously, they tried with the last one they had in the hands of hope, but there was no hope in it actually finding success. The visual does come through. Duck not shooting at the enemy in that spot, and I'm not exactly sure why again, but Tokyo is taking the angle.
A little line of black at that rifle barrel or that SMG barrel.
Yeah, the hatch of the Malusi.
12 seconds left. I don't think Buffalo really has a lot of pressure besides that kitchen hatch, and now they're dropping in a kill zone as Trip picks up a couple kills. Tokyo and Locky taking out Crazy Man and the Hope. Is plant going down? Locky and Dirt covering Tokyo's defuse, but the score is gonna say no about that, and Tripped lands Tokyo. Lands that kill.
Where is the confidence that Score is getting right now? We see that. Everyone saw that. Score stepping through the main doorway of the western side door, actually into the objective of B side. Comes out and just right into Locky's forehead. Where is the confidence to just sprint into the objective? You know Chief Cast. I've casted with Chief Cast before. You've casted for leagues with us. You casted for one of the leagues we do. Man says, unbind your shift key. Take it off your keyboard. Never use it. That is the polar opposite right there. And a player is gone. Okay. Well, this time it's on the other team. But a pause can come through to buy them enough time. Hopefully not a 15-minute pause. But where's the confidence from the score right there? I know he dropped 10 in the match before. I know it was a phenomenal showing from him. But where? Or do you get off going in that
Gun back
direction?
on him, and he's ready to go, I guess. That UMP was absolutely dragging him down.
It is disgusting. That man full sprints around the corner. It's looking like right now we might actually see a 6-0 half if University at Buffalo can't get something going for them. Their feet completely swept out from under them. Apparently, Crazy Man is the sub that will determine everything. Or maybe they're like, this is for the guy who lost internet. He's not dead or anything, but this is for him. We'll dedicate it to him.
Graceman is doing a lot for his team. He's dropped 3 kills, gotten a lot of really useful intel denial. Definitely a really solid sub, doing a lot of work for Marymount.
Yeah, if you're gonna want one player to be a sub and be impactful, a mute player, a mute utility player is the way to go for it.
We take those. Apparently, he's just cracked at that MP5K.
Cracked, my guy. Notice though, Crazy Man, they're not forcing him to play with a shotgun in SMG11, right? Maybe they're like, hey, he's
Gonna let him go.
yeah, just do whatever he's comfortable with, and in a lot of situations, that's all you need. You have, if you're going to bring a Maestro in, which we had seen earlier, he has the payload secondary. He can shotgun out, sidelines and give yourself a good situation. We have seen Marymount have to use impacts for rotationals because they don't have the M80 Mossberg in hand. So it is a waste of that.
But I think it's been worthwhile, and I think
Yeah, 100%. Allowing Crazy Man to play with a more comfortable weapon is a way bigger upside than having to waste impacts.
Yeah. And that's one of those things where flexibility and just the ability to do different things with your operators is really valuable. Just
you have
there's
to
no
find
set
value
meta
in
in Rainbow 6.
Speaking of meta. No, but I love the CCTV hold for this objective. That eastern suburb has such a focus. I'm honestly shocked we haven't seen a bandit trick come through. So while we have finally seen them switch off of the 3 hard breach kind of playstyle they've been rocking so far, we are still seeing them bring out the thermite, which is the weaker of the 2 hard breachers that I wanted them to switch between. But a hip fire from the score. He doesn't need that 1.5. It's not even available one. He doesn't even need the holographic. He's going to even throw a goo mine on the corpse. It's like, this one's for you, a quarter for your thoughts, because that's all I'm giving you at this stage.
With Lucky down, Buffalo is hurting for the man count, and again, being a little slow on taking this breach. A minute down, Duck has still only gotten halfway through his Maverick trick. This is, once again, hurting on that early game utility, definitely hurting on the hard breach, and I think that's a big thing that's been spelling their 0-4 loss right now. As I said before, Clubhouse is utterly important on that hard breaching game, and if you can't play it, you can't be on Clubhouse.
Yeah, look, we do actually see the Maverick trick being done successfully. One thing you'll notice, and I think that when, the University of Buffalo takes the VOD and looks back on it, maybe take Duck and actually go full side, go full south to north on the other side, full send that up and kind of giving that extra sightline for a repel view. But Sakura coming in. They're right next to each other. This is disgusting. Tripped is still holding. He will eventually get full blind, and there will be the kill cleaned up by Sakura. The shot will go through the wall. Duck will team kill Tokyo, and Sakura will get taken out by the T5 SMG in the hands of the score. It's up to Civ and Duck. Duck won't last very long. The caster's curse takes a full blow against him, and it's now the score finding yet another kill for him. And I'm going to go ahead and call that team kill for him as well, right? I'll say that's all on him, kind of scaring him out of that situation. But the run out comes through.
Wants to fill that KD again. He's feeling that losses. That deficit from last map is definitely weighing on his conscience, I think.
Oh, they're bringing up the swinging again. They're really going for it here. But take a look. Sim still had a full Nomad charge available at this stage.
Yeah, that
40
needs to be
seconds
down
on.
a while ago.
Yeah, that should have been way before.
For the team.
We talked about good utility usage. Having a mute that can play the mute and then play his own game is something that you need. And while a mute is kind of a place and forget kind of operator, Nomad isn't. Maybe you don't put Civ on the Nomad, right? If they want to play a place and forget kind of operator, do their one thing and then move on from it, then maybe switch up who's playing what role. Maybe give him the thermite or something of that sort. Right? Do their one job and then go from there. Because we have seen pretty much every round, Civ's one of the last people standing. Right, he's been statistically one of the last people standing, and one of the people you want last standing is probably your hard breachers, especially something like a Maverick, who you'll usually put the diffuser actually on. So maybe switch up who's playing what.
Yeah, as we've said already, that use of utility on the support characters is spelling the defeat for Buffalo right now. just leaving too much in the pocket and taking too much time to deal with all the defender utility.
I definitely think there could be some nice things that you can say about the University at Buffalo side, but I want to focus more on things they can improve on. Right? I think that it's not an intent to be rude. I think like there are things that you have to know in Clubhouse, and there are things you can learn. And I definitely think individually, like the Maverick chick coming through. A new play style. He successfully did the Maverick trick in that last round, but maybe play across an extra line. Gain that sight line as you repel from that north side. You can repel up just a couple feet to get his sight line in. That can shut down that window between garage and CCTV onto that rafter. It's a great position right there. I mean, put your diffuser on your Maverick in most situations, right? Like, or if your Maverick is going to go for a cheeky angle or maybe a dangerous peek through a hole, drop the diffuser and put it in a safe spot so it can easily be picked up by others, right? Small things that will eventually add up, like small mistakes add up to one big mistake. Good things, small good steps lead to the big step. One small step for your team, one big step for your university, as they will hopefully come out and win the entire matchup.
Well, there's a very early kill. Tokyo taking out the score. I think the score might have gotten cheeky off of that round of kills the last couple. That's gonna hurt Marymount for the remainder of this round, though, and that's a lot of Legion charges that were gonna come up that won't ever see the light of day.
Yeah, that's the worst person to have die. I stated this last map. You can't lose somebody like Legion as your first kill. They get better. That's a really far claymore. They get better the longer they're in the matchup. So you need them to stay alive as long as possible. And I definitely think there's some smart decision making that can be made. Marymount obviously not making the super smart decision of the score and fighting this one out. But I want to look at Ape held this before on the actual CCTV. Oh my goodness, he did not just do that.
Close.
Oh my goodness.
Just the edge of greatness. And here we're seeing another push through Cash and CCTV. It's a lot of resources to put into this. Getting this hard breach open right off the bat. It's actually going to be easier for Hope to hold than last time since the walls aren't all soft, but quickly that's been changed by Sakura, and he's going to have to deal with Sakura's gun.
We may see a 5-1 scoreline at half. We may actually. Tripped, however, will try to deny it for as long as possible. He's got 10 kills in 6 rounds. 10 kills in 6 rounds. He'll find another one in this one. He can make it more, and he's going to have to if he wants his team to win out and go for a 6-0 at half. Crazy Man holding down Red Stairs. Sorry, not Red Stairs. It looks like Red Stairs. He's holding Jim and actually holding that Jacuzzi side. He might get aggressive. He's going to hide for a second. He has to worry, but the gym equipment should protect him mostly from behind unless he stands up, like he does in this situation. And just like I stated, the shot will connect. Duck is aware, but Crazy Man will find Tokyo first. The MP5 is going to find and connect, but the trace does go through instead. And now it's going to be a 1 versus 3. Duck will go in to secure the nitro cell, will be ripped and torn, but it's only going to deal enough damage to not finish him off. Duck will use the nade to finish off Crazy Man, but Tripped will finish off Sim. He'll find another Tripped, gets another kill. It's now the 1v1. He knows where Duck was previously because he knows the nade had connected, but now he has to decide about what to do. 20 seconds and Duck has the diffuser. He has to plant it to get himself situated, or he has to full send for the kill. He's going to bait it out. Pros don't fake. Will he actually continue the fake, or will he go? Socket asking for a rehost in the chat. He's going to push for the kill, and he'll actually get it. Duck with the SMG-11. He won't need to duck as Tripped misses the shots just enough for him to find and secure the last kill.
Man, if Tripp could have just one last chance at that, I have full confidence he could have gotten that. He was so close, just maybe taking that bait a little too much. I bet he had a respawn right now.
You think he had a respawn? Rainbow6 Siege may not have respawns, actually. But I'll tell you who does, and that's us here as a sponsor. Respawn Products. They're forged for all-day comfort for content creators, professional and casual players, anyone looking to upgrade their setup. They've been battle-tested, and they achieve a level of comfort that leaves competitors in the dust. Live to play another day with Respawn, your battle-ready board. I know for a fact that our producer here is using a Respawn chair, and I'm pretty sure he enjoys that chair thoroughly. But, Respawn, a very good set of chairs. I have a friend that also has a Respawn chair. He swears by it. So, maybe one day I'll pick myself up a Respawn chair. I'll be able to fully vouch for it in the thing, but, based on what I've been told.
I can't say they're phenomenal. And when I get fragged out and I'm told to take a seat, a respawn's the one I want to be taking.
This ain't Call of Duty, but we still have our own level of respawns here at the NECC. So thank you very much, Respawn, for the sponsorship. But, a cheeky little rehost will come through, but Marymount will win it all. Round 7, a full sweep. And no, but the rehost will have to come through, unfortunately. Sound glitch. Welcome to Siege. There's nothing else you can say about it. Siege is Siege. Sound glitches, you can get them as the observer. That's the craziest part. You can get sound glitches as the observer, and it ruins the entire broadcast. The entire broadcast. It's terrible.
Yeah, what a thing. I mean, I think you got to take your losses with your wins. To have such a great sound system, for the most part, I know we see all the issues with it all the time, but no other game really follows the sound as dynamically as Siege, and it's so vital for a game so based on sound. So I know we have a lot of complaints to have with these sound bugs to have to rehost for, but we got crisper audio than any other game.
Yeah, I think that the audio engine within Siege is one of the most complex, and it has to be. Like a gunshot in a room, whether the walls aren't reinforced, it'll sound different between if the wall is reinforced. And it's things like that which would change the entire pacing of a game. And I want to talk a little bit and touch on it. I mean, Escape from Tarkov, they had an audio engine that was similar, but it was actually so dynamic that it crashed the game if your PC couldn't run it.
Oh no.
And that game was already not optimized enough to run anyways, so they had to take that out, but it was a very well done system.
I don't want to hear that bad.
Yeah, exactly. I was told to play the game, but another one that's kind of doing that, and this is a totally different game, but another game that's streamed here at NECC is Overwatch. Overwatch 2. If you had checked into BlizzCon and what they had done, they talked about the sound engine that they built, and they are building for Overwatch 2, and they have it stated that each map, if you're in a room, it'll sound completely different from if you take a shot outside. They actually have done and tested audio so that it sounds different depending on where you are in the map, and each map will have a different audio as well. So, if there's snow to pad out as well, it'll sound completely different than, say, Dorado, which is like in the desert, right? It'll sound completely different. And it's video gaming as a whole that's taking these extra steps and really progressing as we go forward with these engines and audio drivers and things like that. You definitely want to get yourself a good pair of headphones, like our other sponsor, HyperX. Actually, I don't believe we have to do that. We have an ad for them anyways, but.
While we're on it, I definitely recommend a HyperX. They've been doing my ears good, giving me all these Siege sound cues.
Yeah, I definitely think that's the play. What was the second Defender band besides Mira? What was it was
That was the Kaid.
Kaid, correct.
Yeah.
So it was Ace Thatcher, Mira, Kaid. So we had to, as you do the videos, you have to reset everything. So. Somebody in the chat asked what's happening, and somebody said they're turning on cheats.
Yeah, can't let that 6-0 go on the record.
Yeah, we have an audio bug. Oh, who's this next guy? Bolo? They stub in Bolo out of nowhere. An alumni now. He comes through. No.
Yeah, gotta get your big brother on the keyboard.
Gotta get. What is it? The year's 2047, and our kids are playing Call of Duty, so we got to get our dads. That's the way it's gonna be. It's like, how do you we're getting so destroyed right now. Let's call our dads and they'll carry us, right? That's the kind of parent I want to be. When my kid is struggling in a game, he'll call me in to finish the job. I know it's not gonna work that way because I get worse as I age, and I'm only 21. So.
So on our first half there, we saw very defense-sided clubhouse, just as most maps. It's very defense-sided. A 6-0
more than usual.
Pretty out there.
No, this was a 5-1. We did see a successful attack there because of the last kill on Duck. It was about to be a 6-0.
Yeah.
In all rights, it could have been a 6-0 off of Trip getting the 4K to finish it off, but unfortunately
great job
not.
baiting and playing that 1v1 on Duck's side, as all of his support just fell down around him, leaving him on a single pedestal to fight out for his team.
Yeah.
Well, defense-sided first half, we may well see a very defense-sided second half, and to keep this going, we're really going to be hoping for it.
I mean, if you really wanted this game to be a 2-0 victory, then you're really wanting to hope for this round. They're going to have to 6-0 on defense. University at Buffalo will have to 6-0 at defense. At the very least, they have to 5-1 it to get the tie to go. They'll have to 6-1 it at some point if they want to keep to get it to overtime. But if they want to win it straight out, they're gonna have to win all back to back. So Hard-fought victories. It's going to be very hard-fought. The one thing that I've noticed a distinct lack of, at least in the last map, was, how do I phrase this, was influential or impactful roam from the University of Buffalo squad. We saw the impactful roam from Hope. We saw the impactful roam from the score here on this map, which I would call the score as the MVP for this one right now, despite the 10 bomb that was dropping from, 10 plus bomb, 13 bomb, because he jumped another 2 or 3 kills after that. It was 12 or 13 in that stage.
End of that round.
Yeah, I mean, we might be able to call another bomb in the favor right there of Tripped. Kind of coming out of nowhere. We didn't see as much success in the last map from him, but definitely swinging on this one and winning it out with the MP7 in hand. But it's going to be a very hard defense. They're going to have to think about how they're going to do this one more than you normally think. This is. Did he just say he's buying an op in the round? So you're telling me that they bring out fake flashing and now ops. Like, is this just CSGO? Is this what's happening here? Are we just transitioning? We're going to be CSGO casters next transition?
I guess a total change in my career path.
Yeah, this is what it is. We're switching it up. We're spicing things up. I'm going to be a chess caster. I think that's what we're going to go for. Competitive chess, because I know that our observer here loves
Is there
competitive
any other
chess.
kind of chess?
No, you're right. If you play chess, there was no casual chess. You play to win. I that's like one of the one games I like that I look at and go, there is no losing. You must win.
I only play chess with my life on the line.
Yeah. That's my honor. Too bad I stink at chess.
That's why I never play chess. I know I'll lose.
Yeah, I'm terrible. Dude, you want to play chess? We'll just leave the stream to go at this stage. So, like, while the game's going on, we'll just pull up a little chest window and look at just the two castings dumbos to come through and try to fail at a chess game. I break all the chess rules. I'm so bad at chess.
I break the
That's
chess
how
rules.
chess works.
See, it looks like Buffalo's start looking at this really steep hill to climb. They're opting for CCTV, the more common first pick than that basement hold that Marymount took for their first round. Looks like a pretty standard lineup. Got that smoke to hold those tight corners in sight and smoke out the attack, because with that 30-second meta and a couple choke points, those smokes can do a lot. And a lot of projectile removal between Sakura and Lockion, Wamai and Jaeger respectively.
Yeah, I definitely think this hold will be fairly normal, but if you take a look at the actual Marymount assault, we are seeing the IQ come into play, which could be, a good situation. Crazy Man, who we saw phenomenal utility usage on the defense, playing mute with great success, is going to try and find that same level of impact here. But the best way to play the IQ is going to have them roam on the first floor, and you only have one actual roam denial for your side, and they're actually not hanging out with your IQ. They're up top with the rest of your squad, and that's the score. The man who had a lot of frags away off his side, he's going to bring the saw out and try to find impact where applicable. But Crazy Man now roaming back around. He's inside Jim, going to follow up behind Ape, clear out, and it looks like a construction side pincer. I still don't know why Trippet is still, up top, hanging out on the roof. I'm not sure why, but, a construction push is not too strange, but they are definitely coming in fast. Look at how swift Marymount has made this assault.
Only minute 15, and they've already got all the way up to construction cleared out. Buffalo's going to be facing a really heavy construction hold at this rate. Although Duck's going to be able to pare it down a little bit by taking out Hope. It's going to be nice for any chance of swinging back on that roam. No Jackal left to find those footprints.
Yeah, losing that Jackal as the first pick is going to be impactful. You can argue that that's another roam clear, but a lot of people have been playing that as more of an entry fragger. I don't think they're doing that in this one. I think they're actually going to have Tripped in 8 being that entry fragger. As the F2 and the R4C will definitely be forces to be reckoned with. And now Marymount. They're trying to mount their assault in the right direction, but it's starting off on the wrong foot. The melees will come through from Tokyo on the roam. This is what we talked about. We need that level of impactful roam from their side. Will it be enough? Claymore has been spotted. I mean, you might as well just put like 4 more Claymores there. Oh, you are kidding me. And did he put the Claymore in the same spray?
Just cracked. Too much value. He doesn't even need to deal with those track signatures. He's got what he wants. And
bye.
And now. Ooh, there's the refrag finally, though. And Lockie's getting a double.
Shots will come from below. Locky will try to connect on the opposition. Won't connect enough. It's going to be cleaned up by Sakura. But Tripped will come in with a pistol in hand. Not using the F2 because the reload was a necessity. And it's now a 1v3. And he doesn't really have the time to make it up here. This round is basically guaranteed in its results. Tripped is going to make the rotation all around. He did, in fact, get the Claymore in the same exact spray, so I just wanted to point that out. And it's going to be the Mossberg to clean up. Duck taking the shot and just removing about every internal organ of the Twitch right there.
I mentioned that smoke earlier, and obviously we're seeing Duck finish out that round, but I think he was that anvil for the hammer on that flank. Holding those smokes as soon as that construction push was really clear, popped them right when he needed to. It was impossible to assault cash, and construction just became a kill zone.
I can't phrase it any better. Kill zone. That's exactly what it is. It's not even just a PS3 tunnel at this point. That's just straight up in the air. Like you said, hammer and anvil. 100% what it was. We actually see impactful roam. Duck, who's not loading, and we might need a pause. Nope, there we go. I don't know what the heck was happening right there. That roam that we are seeing impact, that level of high-level roam we wanted before. The same spray, the getting the Claymore, and the kill. I can't get over that enough, dude. That is, his trigger finger is faster than his actual arm to move there. He's already holding down the click. If this was CSGO, like we were joking about earlier, he would have missed every single shot because his spray pattern would have been completely wild. They would have never hit. Thank goodness for him, it's Siege, and that the spray is really not that wild at any account, except if it's the SMG-11, but he's using the MP5K. That's not happening.
Looks like Civ is right off the bat closing up that church wall. We're not going to see a soft one like before. Didn't end up paying off very well for the score.
How, though? Why did it work? Oh, I know why it worked, because they never pushed in from that side. They put two down there. They shot one in the legs, lost the fight immediately, and then had his teammates in a crossfire to actually assist. The church hold itself wasn't fruitful. It was his teammates that he was a distraction. He's what we would call in that situation the baits. Like, 100%.
That's the real 200 IQ play.
Getting your teammate killed so that you may live. Just the
long back on that signature gridlock again. Really having a lot of impact. It slowed down Tokyo on that roam quite a bit. Tokyo still got the kill, but he wasn't able to just run right up main stairs and start tearing through the back line of the attackers.
Yeah, I mean, you really need to go on a tear. Marymount, who almost actually were able to hold out in their own attack. I think it was the roam, like you had said, the hammer and anvil that really gave the University of Buffalo the win, but it's going to continue to be difficult. You do see they're no longer bringing the Twitch into play. Instead, a Capital, which is another operator that is pretty heavily banned recently. It's one you see almost always banned on Consulate. It's one you do see fairly banned on Coastline. And it's one that you can see banned on here, but instead we opted for the Ace ban as the Hard Breach ban and then the Thatcher ban. So I think that those asphyxiation bolts and the fire bolts are definitely going to be a nuisance, or should I say a thorn, in the side of the opposition. Well, no legions, so no actual thorns in the side of the opposition. But still, nonetheless, it's going to be a heavy roam, and it's going to be a large step back for Tokyo as they're going to clean out, herd all the way through Church and all the way over into Moto.
Tokyo was really going around the world, getting scanned from the opposite side of the map after his very early roam.
I mean, you make your presence known, right? And unfortunately, not actually known to most of the team, just that one dude who's got a thing for feet, apparently.
It's looking like a slow burn in this push, slowly taking ground. Marymount hasn't had to force any gunfights yet, and now they're getting set up and prepping for their actual execute.
Now we do actually see the hatch does get busted, and look what I'm pointing out right here. Tripped, who drops the diffuser, knowing that he's going to put himself in a little bit more of a dangerous situation, and he's aware of that, so he's going to drop it for his teammates to actually clear out and give the chance. The impact trick might come out from Civ. He hears where it is. Does it go off? It doesn't find it successfully. The metal wall, the little railing right there, will deny it, and the charges from above will make Civ in a very precarious situation.
The world is just being torn apart around him. No cover left. He's got to come back all the way to AK lockers. And it looks like Buffalo has been pushed back towards blue side of the basement. So this main stairs push is looking pretty fruitful. 30 seconds left, and they're going to have to start executing on it.
I mean, fruitful indeed. In this situation, you just better not hope it's the apple, the one the snake will hand over to you. It'll bite you in the rear end at the end. Sakura coming on the flank now. He has the opportunity to kind of punish on this main stairs, but the Capitao is close there, and he's not going to see the feet in time. Sakura will drop down, but oh my goodness, missing each other by pixels. The flank on main stairs. He catches one, he gets the shot off. Sakura will find the score, and now he's going to flank outside the backside of Moto. Rape will fall. Trip will find Duck in the process. Civ and go. Locky finds two with the 5-7 pistol, and it's going to be another win for the University of Buffalo, going off the top of the Rome game. We're seeing the level of impact I wanted from Rome. We're seeing it, and I'm so happy.
This is absolutely what Buffalo needed to come back from this. Looking at it now, 5-3, not that bad. This is looking pretty darn winnable, especially with this tear that they're on.
Can we continue to gush over Romers for a second here? I don't know what your favorite play style is. I don't know what your favorite play style is here, Treachery, but mine is roaming.
Yeah. I'm a little more anchor oriented, but a good roam that's actually focused on wasting that time and getting really good flanks that are just gonna halt the attack in its tracks, that I live for.
I mean, you can't, like, there's a time and a place for Rome to come in swinging and getting kills. Right? There's a time and a place where you can see a Romer do that. And that's what we saw come from University of Buffalo in the map before, and they learned really swiftly that it was not the time, right? They're like, this isn't it, not at all. And then immediately Marymount goes, round one of their defensive side goes, hey, we do it better, and we're doing it with a man down. Like, yeah. They found that impact, and they were even a man down. That's how much of a threat their Rome was. We're seeing the total polar opposite now. University of Buffalo. We saw success from Marymount's Rome. We saw a lot of success for Marymount's Rome because it was a 5-1 victory for them. But I actually do want to say here that the Rome I'm seeing from University of Buffalo was almost more impressive because you got two of them kind of taking that Rome around. They're playing it very well. And, you know, like you had said, Tokyo went around the world. And it's a little weird to state that a giant city the size of Tokyo roams around the world, but obviously very true. A melting pot in a sense. But, I mean, it's phenomenal showing right there from the MP5 wielding Lucy.
Yeah, Tokyo's stat line there might be a little misleading to you if you see him going negative and think maybe he's not doing his job on the realm. No, he's wasted so much time with such a good distraction and set up for Sakura to actually come back behind. His realm is instrumental to these last two rounds that they've won.
Absolutely. We are seeing the Jacuzzi push. This one's not too shocking to see. You know, no, we do have the castle coming from Civ Kerman on the defensive side, so that is a bit of a time waster, and you know that gym side, that gym window is going to be, you know, castle barricaded. You know that more than likely the construction doorway will be castle barricaded. I'm shocked that the logistics doorway is not castle barricaded, and it's going to definitely bite them in the rear. Sakura does not have a safe escape. They're going to have to fight for their life quite single-handedly now inside of logistics. They're stuck inside stash. They're stuck in that situation. If he steps out the other direction, he's dead. If he steps out towards construction, he's dead. If he steps out in hallway, he's dead again. It's a bad spot. He needs to play for one frag, and that's about all he can ask for.
Well, we have seen Sakura flexing that gun skill. It's a really ballsy play, and we've seen him roam on the smoke once before, so a really unusual option, but maybe one that Marymount won't be expecting. Have someone just right there in logistics waiting for the drought.
Speaking of not expecting, Duck trying to be a bit of a thorn in the side. They're going to melee out the castle barricade. It's just a way to buy time. 11 sweet little swift melee hits. The Nitro Cell will go off and actually destroy his own utility right next to him. Thankfully, he has one in return, but Hope is going to go into a firefight, but it's going to be Trimp that dies first. Locky will find that success. He goes for the second and finds Hope as well. Double kill for Locky, as the 416C will find not just one, but two of the opposition.
Lucky's finally gotten traded out, but his impact is very well known. He's not even killed yet. He's going to take even more time. Unfortunately, Civ is going down to the score, and the score has a really good angle into sight, but not for long. Duck finally popping out and landing that kill that he's been looking for this whole time.
Yeah, but that's the sight lane. You need the SMG-11 coming through. Look at this play. Crazy Man will finish off Locky. Look at that this 10,000 IQ here by Ape. He is gonna try and wait for the greed to come through. And actually it works. Oh my goodness, Ape baiting out Sakura, thinking that he's safe enough to get away, but the refrag will come through. That's Tokyo around the world and back again as he secures the kill, but he'll try to escape, and Crazy Man will be there tonight. A 1v1 situation. Duck, the man we pointed out this entire time, who's actually hanging in sight of Jim, is going to be in a one-on-one engagement, and there's the finish off. He could have shot him at that range, honestly, but it doesn't matter. The SMG-11 will continue into its double kill here in that round.
Crazy Man just had too much to do there. He didn't have diffuser, he didn't have any intel left on site, and one of the greatest anchoring clutch operators, Mute, is just poised and ready. In that position the whole game, just making use of his SMG-11 and Mossberg shotgun every time someone dared to get too close.
I think Civ Kerman's hold inside of the bathroom left a little bit to be desired, right? That was a shock to me, having the score come in that aggressively and win that fight, and come swinging that hard inside from the jacuzzi outside on that balcony. But I mean, the SMG-11 kill to follow up gave exactly what they needed in that situation, in a phenomenal round. I'm gonna go ahead and say it. I want to hear your opinion on this as well. I think the University of Buffalo's wins have been more impressive on their defensive side.
By a lot, actually.
Yeah.
These are looking very stompy right off the bat. Really decisive wins, really leaving no questions to be asked. Even in that last round on that 1v1, Duck left no room for excuses.
Absolutely. And like, to be fair, Marymount's defensive rounds, they were impressive. They were good to show. But that's one of the reasons why, you know, University of Buffalo's wins here on defense are even more impressive, because we know Marymount's impressive. They're a phenomenal attacking team. We saw that on Theme Park. They held out phenomenally in a 5-1 rout in the first half on defense. Then we know they're a great team, and University of Buffalo has come out in a side that looked just completely dead and done, right? They were just getting swept, and they've come out and made a return 4 rounds back. 4 rounds back to back now. And while it was a 1v1, but there, like you said, no questions asked. It was a 3v1 at one point. The trade had to come through. He found 2 to find success. Couldn't find the last, and it was pretty much done and done, because we knew that Duck was not going to miss that shot in that situation, because he'd already nailed one at even twice or even thrice the range onto the gridlock inside bathroom.
I don't think we got back to that Sakura and Ape stalemate quite, but what a thing. Sakura is showing such a weird variety of playstyles. Like, what a dynamic player. Now on that Wamai, I'm so excited to see what he does with it now.
Oh, well, Mai's pancakes are definitely going to be a very, very big boost to this defensive side, especially with the fact you're actually going to sit him up with his gun in hand on top of the rafters. You know, he gets that 1.5. He has that extra little bit of range. He has the viability inside there because he has the ADS support. As long as he stays alive, he's going to have that pancake support as well. Buy that extra bit of time. It's going to make it even more difficult for them to step up through Garage. And while I don't see the attack actually stepping through Garage, which is unfortunate, there is still the one player on the rooftop, which we had seen previously. There's still the one player up there, that's Ape. And I do want to touch again on that Ape and you know, Sakura, you know, engagement we saw inside logistics. That was some 10,000 IQ stuff we saw. The bait by shooting to the side. You know, I'm not here anymore, I'm over here. Just disgust. It was beautiful. Just beautiful.
Right on both sides, Ape took so much time.
I mean, it bought so much. But speaking of bot, there's going to be the gridlock. They're going to throw those down inside. Those are going to be very, very annoying. A quite literal thorn in the side of the defense, but it will be denied just enough so it doesn't actually go into the back, you know, southeast side of the actual objective. But they have opened up quite successfully the construction side. However, just opening construction won't. We've already seen an impact from Tokyo below. We've already seen the impact that Sakura can make from the garage side if he allows himself to get to rotate through. A thermite wall will be busted open, but will it be enough in that situation? Locky getting into the engagement, and it does not seem to matter. Locky will fall to Ape, and Ape even shaking his head at the other player. But now Tokyo is going to take the score from the other side. And this is an opportunity. The spray will go through the wall. Ape will fall, shake his head back at him in return. That's Civ Kerman with the MP7. And things are not going well now for Marymount as they've lost both the Ash and the gridlock.
Duck's still holding out here in cash. He's been able to hold off this attack for a long time. There's a really strong construction push right off the bat, and he's in a really great position to keep holding that since it was only 1 minute left on the clock when the first frag came out. So even though Marymount is looking at the numbers disadvantage, there's that trade out, and Duck finally finishing it out again, really holding cash very disgustingly with that SMG-11, even when there's a breach in the doorway to deal with and a lot of attackers coming at him.
What did I just see in garage? I'm shocked you could hold your stupor in that situation. That was something else to behold right there. What was that, Raptors? Why did he not shoot? Why did he not shoot? You're staring at the dude's butts.
He was just transfixed in awe of that butt, I guess.
I'm trying to escape my opposition, but I'm so dummy thick. The clap of my cheeks alerts my enemies. Apparently alerting the other way, as that fight that should have gone in the favor of the attacking side completely swips around the other direction. So
Imagine
unfortunately,
being so thick that it's actually a tactical advantage.
Advantage, yes. It's like the wub-wubs. It's enough of a distraction in one way. They'll force to turn to you and stare in awe. But no, that was a great hold. I mean, like you had said, Duck with the SMG-11, he is on a tear. Keep in mind, we've had a rehost, and he's at 7 kills. I spoke about this on the last match, on the last map, I should say. I said when a rehost comes through, it hurts, because you don't get to see just how dominant they were. You get a sight line, but it's not the full picture. I don't think anything that the University of Buffalo did in this first half was very impactful. In fact, it was the other way around. Tripped had like 12 kills, right? What Duck coming through and holding his own, especially clutching out a round for a win. And you can argue he clutched that last one out, but it wasn't. I don't think they were going to get that one anyways. But clutching it out, secured win, giving his team the ability to tie this one up at 5-5 here in round 11. Nuts. Phenomenal job from him. Definitely in contention for MVP for this map, but I would actually argue Tokyo is above him, even though the stat line doesn't show that. Like we've spoken about, that roam potential, that roam actual usage and impact is way higher.
Yeah, the roam has really spelled that turnaround from what looks like a defeat to a very even map here and just a very, very confident defense.
Competent indeed. I think that's something that I wasn't really expecting from University of Buffalo. I just thought maybe this is a weak map for them, especially after that first half, but they're definitely showing me something else.
Looks like another pretty heavily Jacuzzi-sided push, just like their CCTV push. Marymount really has to switch something up, show us something spectacular to overcome Buffalo's just great change in momentum.
Yeah, I mean, winning 5 rounds back-to-back, you just did that to them, right? Right? If you're Marymount, you just did that, and now they've come back. How does it feel, right? Like, where is the... I know your tag is MCU, but you definitely need to have superhero level of, like, stability of mind. You need that superhero level of mentality to get 5-0'd and still hold a high presence. And Sakura will definitely drop that just a little bit lower. The Score, who had a phenomenal game in the first half, and especially on the last map, despite the unfortunate, loss of a player, is going to get taken out first, and that's another roam denial. The roam denial getting taken out by the roam is that much worse in this situation. Locky Force now out of Memorial, and he's going to have to rotate over to Church, which is reinforced, as we'll have to point it out once again.
Every time now. Sakura's still roaming pretty hard upstairs. Hopefully he'll be able to clamp down on the back of the attack here pretty soon, as the attack really seems to be locking down on main stairs. And with a minute left, looks like Marymount has time to set themselves up still. They haven't had to deal with a whole lot of realm, so they're actually set up pretty well to go into their execute, despite being down 1 player.
Yeah, they definitely do still have, the Hibana up. Losing your gridlock in a map where your defense is more than likely going to anchor isn't that bad. Now, the LMG in the hand of the gridlock is a weapon you want to have available, but, taking the LMG out of the hands of Civ Kerman of that Alda is definitely going to put you in a better position. So, Sakura will find another one, however. What just became even will once again go against you, and it's going to be that much more difficult. You've lost the player of Jackal, so you no longer have that C7E, but they're going to get a refrag in return. That's going to be Hope, who's going to take Doug, but Sakura will take Hope back in return. Ape coming from Central Stairs. He'll try to find the opposition when applicable, but Tripped, who has a diffuser, is in a bad situation. He needs to get to a safe spot, and while the Maestro is not alive, that camera has the Evil Eye spot, and they definitely know when to push because the information is there. Sakura will find Ape, and it's now just Tripped, who's going to get pushed and taken out by Tokyo. Sakura and Tokyo, that dynamic duo, not just in name and in theme for the name, but, in actual execution. They came through, and they knew exactly what to do, and, you had one player get killed, and was still probably one of the most impactful players in that round because of the information you were able to provide with those Evil Eyes. Great placement.
I think that round, I think we're starting to see Marymount's confidence falter. They finally brought it back to even, and Buffalo was looking scary as ever going into that round, getting that first pick on the score. And then we see Tripped taking 3 different times to try and plant, each one a little less beneficial to him than the last, finally dying, trying to put it down with no teammates left on the board. It's just getting scared of that momentum, and it's the mind killer.
The mind killer is definitely a problem. I want to point out, though, last time we saw this tertiary objective of the gym and bedroom, it was close. Came to a 1v1 at the end. Now, it was a 3v1, and pretty handily that at one point, but just catching off the off guard, the mind games eventually brought it back, but still a 1v1 at the end. This is the closest they've really gotten to actually finding success and winning on their attacking side for Marymount. So this is probably the best objective and also the only objective that you can, go to if you are, University at Buffalo. But this is probably the best objective to have this match point kind of situation if you are Marymount.
And the pressure really is on Marymount at this point.
A 5-1 on your half, and now it's a 5-6. The pressure's on.
Bet you he's heating up in that Discord call right now.
Dude, my university has an actual we have an actual room and stuff, right, where we actually have computers lit up. If I guarantee we're doing a tournament like this or something, we're all in that room. I would be standing up like, you move over here, you do this. I would be heated. I would be working towards because this is the
shoot that.
Yeah, shoot that. Do it. I would be getting out of my chair when I died and like baby step, right? Like, it probably was not helping the situation. It's probably actually worse, but
just gotta switch up the energy, and hopefully that is what Marymount's doing here. Hope on that really good roam clear. I hope he can really stick that out and stay by his reputation so far on clearing out roam really well. They've been having a hard time with it, but here he's got that scan on Locky, and he lands it quite heavily. Ape taking damage on the other side, but not going down at all to Doug.
Again, this castle barricades will make it hard to push inside Gym, but another thing that will make it hard in the first place to go forward is the fact that you're not down the 416C. That's a weapon that you don't want to lose. Fortunately for them, Jaeger's a place and forget kind of operator. You can kind of situate him. That's why Jaeger's always been one of those operators that can roam quite successfully, because he can place and then do his own thing. Kind of like Melusi, place and then do your own thing. And I definitely think we'll see more Jaeger consistently on roam once the Melusi nerf officially comes through. I think we're definitely going to see more Jaeger as that roam main instead of Melusi.
If it was possible to have more.
Yeah. Yeah. This game is something else. The people you think would anchor initially in year 1 are now roaming in full send.
Lively meta.
It is meta?
Oh. It's like your activation word. Like a sleeper agent for meta.
Sleeper. I'm an advertisement. Oh my goodness. Look at Tokyo. He sees it. He's going to get greedy. Oh no, you don't miss those, Tokyo.
After also swinging it, and there goes Banshee down, but not out.
Oh, the sit. Oh, Sakura saving the life of Score. Oh my goodness. That is a game changer. Unfortunately, Sakura will not be saved and returned by Tokyo, but he'll try to go for the revive. The revive does get picked up, but it's not going to matter. Hope goes down immediately. The spray tries to go the other direction, but it does not land. That's Crazy Man fighting with a 5.56.11, but it's not enough. Tokyo goes down. It's up to Duck and Civ. This is a 2v3, but Ape is very, very low. And as we all know, Zofia does no longer have the withstand. So if she goes down, she's down, and it's more than likely going to be a kill. Unfortunately, you do have to worry. It's just the SMG and UMP in hand, so it might not actually deal enough damage to completely finish off.
I don't know if Buffalo's actually ever been behind on this half so far, on this defense that's been so strong. Having 1 man down and 2 pushing to site. There's another one down, and Duck is once again in the clutch scenario. This time, it's a lot less in his hands, and Marymount's actually going to clutch that out to take it into overtime.
Now, I know this isn't exactly my specialty, so I'm mainly a play-by-play, but let's bring some analyst work into this. All right, let's bring some analyst work into that. What the heck just happened to Castro? No, but for real, I mean, the save that came through to save your teammate over there. Good work. You pushed, you get the 1 kill. Unfortunately, couldn't find the thermite to find through. It just comes down to jitters.
Sakura
right?
showed himself there.
He got it right there.
Great kill, saved his teammate's life, no question about it. Duck was as good as, or not Duck, But his teammate wasn't as good as Dead there in Cash.
Tokyo.
Swinging on that was a great move with SMG-11, but you're going to have to reload after that. You just can't push 3 operators in the next rim that way.
And I definitely think that all of it kind of came up and surmounted, but I want to point out a 5-1 showing from both people on their defensive half. And the only round victories we saw come through were on Gym and Bedroom. The only attacking victories were both on Gym and Bedroom.
I really wish we could
And
see
on the last possible round.
5v5 stick all the way through the prior map, because it was looking really close there too, and obviously these two teams are very closely matched.
They both have lost both of their matches coming before. I mean, we did see, Marymount, California University lost against Buffalo Alpha and lost against JWU. So they have lost against the A team of the University at Buffalo. So, beating their B team would kind of put yourself in the middle, kind of situate yourself in a nice position to know where you can progress and kind of go from. University of, at Buffalo 2, they lost against Central Methodist 1 and CSUDH. And I have no idea who that is, even though I'm pretty sure I casted that game. Both of them were all 0-2 losses. Neither of these teams have ever had a map go either way in their favor. None have won a map. And right now you have University of Buffalo who's won a map, and now Marymount who's fighting for their life to win at least one map.
Buffalo's got this defense on the first and third rounds of overtime. That's going to be a big advantage for them after we saw 5-1 splits on both defenses. So this is looking pretty good for them on the statistics side.
Yeah, statistically speaking, it looks phenomenal. Now, the rehost did come through, so it's actually even more impressive in terms of player stats, right? To see this, I mean, you've got, I was about to talk about Hope, but he's in a little bit of an engagement. I mean, you take a look at Sakura, who's got 7 right now. Duck's also falling with 7. Tokyo sitting with 6. I don't think Tokyo had very many before the half actually switched, but, nonetheless, a phenomenal showing all around. You expect that, University of Buffalo's scoreline was probably around the same that Marymount's is right now in terms of when they were attacking. So it's probably not too different, or it doesn't differ too much, but I'll tell you what, the actual play styles of the two is definitely differing. A completely different transition between the two of them when it comes to defense and attack. And speaking of transition, Tokyo, once again, the one that I've been specifically raging about, or ranting about, I should say, phenomenal roam game. Just disgusting to behold in this situation.
2 first picks for Buffalo on this defense that we already knew that they were really good at. Looking great. Tokyo continuing to make really impactful kills for his team on that roam. It's going to be hard-pressed for Marymount to get into sight at this rate.
I mean, yeah. I mean, you take a look now, and it's a 3 versus 5 University of Buffalo doing what they do best, winning on defense. And it's going to be a switch. Thankfully for them, if they do lose on the attack, they get to defense again, right? They have the advantage. They're leading into the overtime on defense. So, just based on statistically speaking for past rounds, University of Buffalo will win this one out, unless Marymount does what they do best and spice it up. Locky connecting with the drop fire, hip fire shot. Disgusting. Where's the report button? I want this out. But Duck will Mossberg finish off Crazy Man, and it's up to Tripped, who had very closely almost made that comeback to make it a 6-0 half before. If there's one person on that side that I think could surmount this huge comeback potential and possibly ace, I think it would be Tripped, especially with the F2 in hand. Ooh, however, it's not going to look that way. He was in an engagement with Sakura, and it doesn't work in the favor. Flawless round from University of Buffalo.
That was a great capstone to that huge tear they went on. 5 rounds in a row and then 1 more. Not quite a full streak, but definitely cementing them on that 7-6 and taking us to match point yet again.
It was actually 6 full rounds back to back. I don't want to correct you. I don't like doing that, but 6 full rounds back to back. Or was it 6? Actually, you may be right. I may be stupid, actually. I take it back.
Numbers
Wait, no,
higher.
it's 6. It's 6.
We established that we can't count this high.
Yeah. We're both really bad at math because they won the first in the last round of their attack, and then they won 5 back to back. Because then we had to see the comeback. Yeah, so it was 6. It was 6. Man, we're dumb. We should really write things down.
I've been this way my whole life.
Listen, I made it this far. I'll make it even further. You don't. We're definitely going to find a new way to take notes because right now we are making something of it. That's for sure.
Well, Marymount's taken that basement defense yet again. They chose this as the first defense before. Buffalo opted for CCTV both times when they had their pick of all of the sites. So it's interesting to see that dichotomy between the two teams.
You can't no. You can't do that. You can't do that. You can't say you're stupid and can't count and then immediately use the word dichotomy casually like take it back. I'm gonna start throwing all my R6 buzzwords at you and you have no idea what's going on. I'll bring out the word quaternary that Chief uses. I'm gonna bring in a bunch of different words. You just had no clue.
Well, we got this apex positioning coming forward. We got the quaternary objective under play. It's all just going to come down to how quickly can they take this submissive attitude towards the assault.
Here, let me put on my mustache. Let me grab my monocle. We can get into some Middle English siege casting.
Yes, yes. We see them progressing forward quite nicely, and it's an assault that's definitely getting itself underway.
Quite indubitably.
We completely switched up. Corey the Frog here. You see the University of Buffalo is making a very strong assault towards the inside dirt tunnel, and they're definitely trying to find the opposition off guard. But unfortunately, he only needs to want to take out one. But the mute jammer will actually be placed to deny. Unfortunately, it's not a bandit trick, so I don't actually destroy the actual utility, but it will buy just a little bit of time.
I love that Crazy Man is totally mixing up what he did before. Earlier, we saw Sakura just shoot out both of those mute jammers and just be done with it, hop on in. You noted that it just didn't have much impact on the game. Here we're getting a little bit more time. We're down to 1 minute into the round, and that's still not open. So that was a lot more effective of a hole on dirt.
Yeah, I mean, I hate people who have but that defensive hold. I hate that. I can't stand it. So definitely a much better job. And Tokyo also a phenomenal job in knowing that was going to happen, knowing how close Crazy Man was, and playing that around. Aware that if a mute's going to be there, more than likely a mute trick will come through. So phenomenal decision making. And like we've stated before, I said like a lot of the times you'll see smokes or mutes when they hold inside of dirt. They'll actually bring out full send and bring the MP5. We're actually seeing that come into fruition here, but fights are going in every direction, and it seems to be mostly University at Buffalo. Stuck will find another one on the top. Lucky, who had gotten two, will now fall in the hands of the opposition. Apes dropping down the kitchen hash will try to turn and get one off, but it doesn't seem to matter. The shots go. Tokyo takes Ape in return, and now Tokyo's down from the fight. Trip just going to try and connect. He's the last man standing. This might be the last round we see today. Tripped, like I've said before, he's the man you expect to win this one out, but he has 0 retinas left, and neither do I, as my really high refresh rate monitor is blinding me. And now he tries to peek around this outside edge. He's got to face off against 4 very strong rifles in the hand of the opposition, and it is a very difficult situation. The turn, he doesn't get flash class this time. He'll find one. The peek over the top will not matter, though, as Civ comes in with the IRX to finish him off, and GG, game set and done. As we finally see University at Buffalo 2 succeed on their second ever attacking round here on Clubhouse, and that's disgusting to say.
Buffalo really took that momentum and they made it everything. They got their heads in the right space and they made sure that Marymount couldn't get back into that winning groove.
Yeah, I mean, confidence is lacking. They finally, it was 6 rounds, a 6-round drought for them to win a round, and they finally do get one for them. And unfortunately, they couldn't get 2 back-to-back, and they couldn't get the 3rd back-to-back as well. So obviously, because University of Buffalo 2 had failed to really gather their feet from under them on their last attacking session, and switching to the defense gives them that full 6-7 rounds with the overtime, gives them the full 7-round, time to gather themselves and orient an attack that will actually be successful.
Yeah, they just really got that ball rolling, and once it had that momentum, it just snowballed bigger and bigger and bigger. More decisive wins every single round, enough to a point where they could take the lead on even their attack on a map that had just been so defense-sided all the way through.
It was a phenomenal game. I mean, very defense-sided. We saw 3 total attack round wins. 3 total. 3 total. I'm going to say it 3 times because it was 3 total times. It's crazy to behold. I mean, that was a much more fun match to watch than, say, the first one. I thought the first half of the first map was a lot of fun. Unfortunately, marred by Marymount, unfortunately, having a player who lost internet access in the block on their street. These things can happen. It's not their faults. I'm very sad to see that because I did want to see how that game would play out. Because quite honestly, University of Buffalo did not play that well on their defense. They didn't. They did not play defense well at all. And I think that it was a complete opposite here for Clubhouse. They played defense basically A1, almost near perfection. The only round I saw a difference in perfection was The round where both rounds were in the gym in master bedroom site, and that's honestly not shocking. It's a tertiary objective. That's not the main one you're priming yourself to defend. So it's not shocking to see you do a little less on that.
Yeah, I really think that Marymount got the short end of the stick here with that loss of a player early on. Of course, the replacement was not bad one bit, really making a lot of impactful kills with that MP5K especially. But when it comes down to it, they were off kilter ever since the first half of map 1, and I think they deserve better. They're not a bad team. They put up a great fight through and through both maps, and I think I'm really excited to see them keep playing because I don't think that they just deserve to be written off as a team that's got no victories yet. An emphasis on the yet. I think they've got it in them. They're a good team.
Yeah, I definitely think if these two teams faced off again in a scenario where, because I mean, all right, let's take a look. If it was going to go to the third map, because it's a best of 3, it was going to go to Oregon. And actually, you know what? I still think University of Buffalo too would have won that, because I think Theme Park is the wrench. Theme Park is the wrench, right? It's not it's not one of the, like, you know, T3 specials, right? It's not one of those T4 specials where it's like your go-to. It's the wrench, and that was Marymount's choice, was Theme Park. And it definitely showed. You can tell there was a lot that went into that. And we saw the same thing from Buffalo. Now, their attack was left so much to be desired in terms of that map, but their defense was near perfection, in my opinion. And it definitely showed that that was their map decision. But I think Oregon is more similar to Clubhouse in the fact that it's a T4 special. So I think University of Buffalo could have still won that. But if there's one thing to take away, Marymount, I like the choice of Theme Park. I would have loved to see you play completely. One thing you need to take away, though, you have to know the other maps. Practicing your own maps, you can't guarantee a BO3 every time, right? You can't. Well, you can guarantee a BO3 here at least at NECC, but you can't guarantee it'll make it to the third map. So you can't rely on that one. And also, Clubhouse is, I'm sorry, not Clubhouse. Oregon's not anywhere near the wrench that you had previously. No one's going to leave Coastline up as another wrench. Nobody's going to leave Consulate up as another wrench in there. I mean, even Villa could be classified as a wrench in this scenario. Yeah. I mean, I think University of Buffalo would have won third map as well.
I don't know. I see that going either way, honestly. I think an even more normal map, one that's really played out, very established meta, and with how close our games were earlier. See you raising your eyebrows there.
Oh, meta.
With how back and forth we saw a lot of that being, not each round, but on halves, back and forth halves. I think we would have seen really lively play, especially seeing as that was the sort of compromise map between the two and their bands. They're both comfortable there.
Yeah, but I don't know. It's just in terms of Oregon versus Clubhouse and Theme Park, Oregon is way more similar to the Clubhouse. And it was close. You could very well be right. It could have been back and forth. But if Buffalo 2 played 1/3 as well as they did on defense on Clubhouse. I'm sorry, if they play 1/3 as good on Oregon as they did on their defense on Clubhouse, it could definitely go in their favor. And a roam heavy map like Oregon, where the only time you're not going to see a roam is down in basement hold, it's going to be a monster. Tokyo roaming like that. It's the same thing you see down in, it's the same exact thing you see in Clubhouse. That basement is devastating to face off against. You're going to roam, and then you're going to immediately take the step back and turtle up again. It's just your go-to. You're going to see the same thing with Malusi's taking that extra step, taking big tower, making the rotation down the spiral and right back out of the basement. It's just how it works. It's so much more similar. And from the success we found from Buffalo, I just have to give it to him for that one. I think in my brain, it's playing out Buffalo. It's going to be close.
Yeah.
7-5. That's what I'm giving it. That's what the score is.
Quite reasonable.
Mm-hmm.
I see it. I'm seeing it. I'm in the same headspace.
I'm sending my directions to you. Make sure you pick up my email as well.
Astral projecting.
Yes. Yeah, please stop using big words. Are we doing Mr. Producer Man? Are we doing an interview? No interview. Okay, well that's fine. So we're gonna go ahead. We are gonna go ahead and close off. This has been a phenomenal matchup here. I've actually enjoyed every single moment of it, but you know, my name has been Infernosis. I'm joined here by Treasury. Thank you very much for joining us, Treasury. I know you were pretty excited and also anxious, I guess, as your first showing here.
Yeah.
I think we left our mark here on this matchup. But thank you very much for joining it. Thank you very much to our producer here, the Glooby Doo, the Scooby Doo Meister himself, owner of NECC as well, and of course Max, our observer, who did a wonderful job with the 15 re-hosts we had. But thank you everybody very much. Thank you for tuning in, and this has been NECC Esports here at Rainbow 6 in Week 3.